They definitely had to deal with their own mortality there. Keeping the train rolling straight on. And look at how much space Rig has. The Valiant never taste death. And London hit the jackpot.
Just a very nice play there.
Onko, though, he knew exactly what he was doing. Pick your poison, essentially. There's a lot of threats here. You cheeky little man.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 8th day of the regular season here, live from Los Angeles and the Burbank Blizzard Arena. Fantastic crowd joining us on a fine Saturday morning here in sunny Los Angeles. Welcome, everybody, to the desk. I know you were expecting baby blues and pearly whites, but you get me instead. I'm sorry. Puckett couldn't make it today. I am going to be your host. My name is Semler, but of course, the real stars of the desk, they're sitting here right next to me. It's going to be Crumbs, a man who's still trying to wrap his head around a team with 6 players and not 5, a man and not a monster, Brent, and Zoe, rocking the leather today, as always. All right, guys, how are we feeling right now? How are we feeling?
All right. I'm pumped. I love the last match of the day yesterday. It was great to see Dallas come to life. Also this week we saw Shanghai really step it up, and that really makes me look forward to all future matches we have.
Absolutely. Shanghai versus Florida. I was casting the game. I loved it. I thought they battled it out. It was a great one. I mean, Crumbs, what do you think about yesterday's match?
Listen, I'm all for Shanghai picking it back up. I think I have faith in them. My first skin was the Winston Shanghai skin. I'm representing that.
Let's go. We had a great sign in the crowd yesterday, too. I mean, Bren, anything stand out for you from yesterday?
I think Dallas in particular, I mean, I want to focus on these guys because they were looking better than their previous match against Valiant. They were showing a bit more signs of life. I like that they were going back to the basics, sticking with compositions and the OG squad, so to speak. Still got a ways to go, obviously, but it shows hope.
It does, indeed. There's plenty of hope. We got plenty of time here. We are only at the start of this league. It's now going to head, well, I mean, speaking of time, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to happen today. Our schedule for the day, it is going to be 3 fantastic matches that we'll be going through. Los Angeles Valiant, the hometown heroes. I'm seeing plenty of green in the crowd here. That's right, that's right. Versus the London Spitfire, a tough match, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Followed by Los Angeles Gladiators versus the New York Excel. Again, I'm seeing some purple as well. That's sick. And then to close it all out for this week, it's going to be Boston Uprising versus the San Francisco Shock. But to start things off, we're going to go ahead and bring our first team to the stage. It is the hometown heroes, the Los Angeles Valiant. And so, Los Angeles Valiant, I mean, this is a team who have impressed to start things off here in the league. So, Crumbs, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they had a tough match against the New York Excel. However, a loss is an opportunity for improvement. And I think they can look back on that match and really figure out where they can set aside their weaknesses from their strengths and fight London Spitfire to give up these Giants a run for their money.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, their defenses looked incredible, strong. Their offense rounds fell flat repeatedly, unfortunately. However, if you look back on that match against NYXL, on Oasis, they managed to draw on Numbani. They held the second point on Horizon convincingly, thanks to the aforementioned stellar performance on their defense rounds.
All around, I gotta say, the one person I'm most impressed with is that gent who was just on your screens then. Envy, the off-tank player, is gonna be one of the players to watch in this match. His diva play is on par with some of the best in the league, so I want everybody, to be honest, to be keeping an eye on that guy, the amount of plays that he can make.
Particularly, a fan of the 2 French players.
I'm a fan of the eye
Here,
warmers now.
right? You got to get your eyes warm. You know? Like,
Get
those
those
things, if they
eye
get all
juices.
gunked up and slowed down, you know, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to react fast enough. I mean, this guy right there, he doesn't have to worry about a damn thing. Unko, what a beast. Him and Soon, I think, have been the standout players for me, but I'm not totally not biased, totally not French. You know, only 2 French players here. I'm a big fan of Los Angeles because I am from Los Angeles. All right, let's go ahead now and meet their opponents. Bring it out onto the stage. It is going to be the London Spitfire. And so, there we go. Bit of that personality. I love it. Fisher, already, I'm sure we're going to have something to talk about here because we haven't really seen too much of Fisher. And so that is going to be a bit of a shift up here for the roster. But, you know, Crumbs, I'll start with you.
Yeah, in my opinion, as a result of how many talented players this team has, they have the highest skill ceiling out of the teams. Every time we watch them, it's like checking the oven to see if the turkey's ready. And every time they play, we open the door and get to see that London turkey that much juicier.
That is
Great reference.
straight fire.
Loved it.
I completely agree with you there, Crumbs. This team, in my opinion, has the highest potential in the league to improve and be the very best. Just in the amount of talent they've got, Prophet in particular, that gent right there. The guy is an absolutely incredible DPS player. He really does turn up almost every time he plays, and he does, the team sort of, it's not formed around him, but he does make the plays and opens up different avenues for his team to come in and make, you know, stuff happen on the map all around.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to throw some numbers at you, in his last map yesterday on Genji, he played 37 eliminations and had 3 deaths.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the guy's stats across the board in general are ridiculous in almost every match he plays. Maybe not on a level of like players like Fletter or whatnot, but still, he has standout performances on such a different array of heroes.
Oh, it's not only Prophet, Birdring. I mean, you've got Rascal. You have such depth to the DPS lineup. And, I mean, the players, they've been kind of poo-pooing that, trying to put more emphasis on the tanks and the supports going into this season. But, I mean, we have had plenty of chances to be impressed here by these hit scan players, by these projectile players. So, I mean, Crumbs.
I think we got to give love to the divas, right? We've been giving divas so
that's
much
because
love.
you're a diva main, bro. You can't go there. You're
But
biased.
it's not just for the bombs, though, because I think what's really making this hero stand out is the defense matrix, and it's so underrated as an ability because you really don't see anything, right? It just sucks up everything up, and I think Fury is the guy that's been showing us on the Spitfire how to protect, how to attack, and how to just enable his team as divers and protecting the backline. Just such a good diva player.
Yo, so I was actually annoyed at you, Crumbs, because you stole my point. Because I've been going on about Fury for so long coming into this, because this guy is ridiculous, right? On the diva, his defense matrix, the timings, his game sense, knowing when to engage, when to go out, and the fact that he gets so many eliminations, so little deaths, and prioritizes the survivability is the most impressive aspect, I think, for me, in terms of his general diva play. Easily the best diva in the league.
So he's a bit of a cat, you're saying, you know? Not 2 lives, 9. All right, he just lasts forever. Zoe, what do you think?
Well, about their discussion, should I also steal his point now?
Dude, go for it.
Should I really
Go for it.
No, you know what?
Feeding frenzy.
I'm throwing something else out there. I want to see that Sen battle.
Okay.
Yudosin, Onko, I think that's going to be a good one to look out for.
I'm always impressed with Unko's play. Soon and Unko. Again, I just have to keep reiterating it. I mean, these guys keep standing out for me. Soon with the back capping and the straight fire. Dropping support left and right.
You say Zen, I only think Jonak at this point.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, the LA Gladiators, though, they get to look forward to Shaz later on today, and that guy is also standing out on Zenyatta, really enjoying his play. I mean, any final thoughts before we start getting close to getting into this match? Predictions, anything you want to throw out there?
I just want to point out that you could make the argument here that this is going to be the best Western team against possibly the best Korean team. So you've got a very interesting matchup here right away. Straight up, first game of the day, it's going to be an absolute banger to look forward to, yeah.
I agree with what he said.
Listen, I thought that one last time. I thought that last time, Valiant.
But you know what? I think London does have the edge here still. But Valiant's coming off of a loss. I'm sorry, guys.
That's been
that doesn't mean that I don't
There
want
we go.
Valiant to win.
I
I do want them to
Spitfire
win,
fan.
but I do think that Spitfire may have the edge. Let's rephrase this.
There's a 100% chance of victory so far if your lineup is full Korean, so I think London's got it.
I mean, London really did impress yesterday versus the Dallas Fuel. Dallas Fuel finding themselves 0-4 in the league now. You would think that those guys were going to be a standout team for the West, but it's not the case. And so it's fallen down to the LA Valiant now to take the fight to the Spitfire. We're going to see what they're capable of. I'm going to hand it over to the capable casting duo that we have to bring you the action. It's UberX.
Thank you very much, Cinema. It's kind of nice to have that up on the desk as well. Good bit of fun. Great to have him jump in. Of course, straight out of Culver City, it's going to be the Los Angeles Valiant again. Quite the gauntlet this week has been for them. Not only have they had to take on the New York Excelsior, and they go straight into a matchup against the Spitfire. This is a rough week.
Yeah, it's like they have a great 2-0 week in week 1, and then now they go up against 2 of the harder teams in the league in London, in New York in week 2. I think the Los Angeles Valiant, though, they put up a really good fight against New York. Excited to see what they can do here against London.
It was a good series. Some disappointing moments for us, I think. We sort of highlighted them. The first map in this series will be Dorado, and I find this to be a very pertinent point because the London Spitfire dropped this particular map to the Florida Mayhem. This has also been a good map for the Los Angeles Valiant. This is where the home team are going to want to start off strong. Let's make some noise. It's a Saturday morning, Blizzard Arena. Wake up! And let's make sure everyone is on board. Big shout out to our friends over in Europe as well, who should be joining for this one.
I love the signs in the crowd this morning. We got a few Jeff Kaplan faces out there. This is Metromain in the front row. Everybody's showing up.
We see you out there. We're enjoying it.
We do. We have a monitor. We can see them out there. Very good point there, Mitch. See what London decides to do, because they have Fisher in the lineup instead of Gesture. We've been seeing this lineup rolled out a lot with Gesture as the main tank. This time we're going to see Fisher playing that main tank role. Excited to see him in the lineup. He was phenomenal during the preseason.
Very flattering statistics, I think, for Fisher after that preseason. Arguably, in fact, I think it was the highest main tank in terms of his statistics.
It was like him and Miro, like at the top in terms of Winston play, and then you saw Fisher put up some very good Reinhardt stats as well. On the defensive end will be the London Spitfire starting things off. See if this is the full comp they run out with. Fisher now playing the Orisa.
Again.
It's okay, they can go Orisa Torb here. With Vidocin playing Torb, you can use Torb with the armor packs, kind of like a secondary support. The turret provides a little bit extra damage.
This is such an interesting composition.
This is almost like what the Gladiators ran with Hydration on like the Doomfist. It's the same kind of idea, except you have Reaper in for Doomfist, where you play really close at that choke. You have the support for the Torb turret, you have Prophet playing the Reaper, and you can put down a ton of damage in that choke area. Makes it even harder to get at Bird Ring all the way in the back on the Widow.
Again, play a close range threat while you're boasting a long range threat like that Widowmaker. Make it pretty tough to choose where you want to go. The crowd is very split on this particular one. Matthew, let's jump in now. The Valiant on the attacking side. They're going to spot the Torbjorn and be a little bit flummoxed early on. They'll know to get around that one. They do need a pressure. It's sitting behind an Orisa shield, which is more of a nuisance than anything else, but still something that demands attention.
I'm interested to see how Soon goes and plays around this, right? Because Prophet on the Reaper can put a ton of damage, burst him down very quick.
Big flank.
It's very difficult to get to the Widow all the way in the back, especially when she's damage boosted. And then just the Torbjorn turret provides a little bit of a nuisance for a Tracer as well.
I wonder if he's trying to bait someone up to try and deal with him there. Just a couple of cheeky little shots towards the backside. He would love to try and burst someone like Vidocin down. You can see the moment Envy picks some part of his hitbox out, it is hit by Bird Ring. He's watching very closely. Envy's gotten around, now the dive seems to be on, though Prophet being harassed pretty early on. The turret's down. Fisher also going to drop, and Envy's looking for more in the back line. Doesn't want to commit too hard. He sees Nuss is able to escape to the high ground, and he's not pursued. Fate drops to Fury. Perhaps the Valiant getting a little bit ahead of themselves, but they're making progress.
And Fisher's going to switch off to Winston, so the Orisa goes away, and they see the dive coming in. They're trying to get Bird Ring down from the high ground. You have the protection here from Fury, going to use that defense switch back on up. You see Fisher dive on in, needs some teammates to support him here.
Silk Thread low, but he's going to back away. He's getting himself some mercy healing already. The Valkyrie coming out from Nuss here. This is where the Spitfire are going to get a little bit more aggressive. Uncos found Fisher though. It's going to be an instant res from Nuss, no doubt about it. Need that HP up on the board, close to a Dragon Blade. It's Silk Thread, but it was the molten core of the Torbjorn turret that took him down before he could do much about it. Nakari's forced to dig deep for his own Valkyrie, but it's a little bit late in the day. The Valiant had already lost so many players, but Prophet drops. Fate looking for more. Primal Rage is going to be there. This could be scary. Nuss gets taken down. Looking for a turret there. Silk Thread just cutting it up. It's an easy target. It doesn't even move. No legs to run away. But Vidocin catches Silk Thread with the rivet gun as he tries to jump on through. But it's looking good for the Valiant. We're seeing momentum here, Matt, and they are converting.
Yeah, the players for London are very low here. It's just going to be Bird Ring and Prophet, the only ones alive. You have 5 players alive here for the Valiant. They will be able to take point A. And I think that's the downside of not having that secondary support. Vidocin was playing Torbjorn. Molten Core is a great ability, an ultimate in that type of situation. But when you see the Valkyrie come out of Nuss, you know there's no sustained support ultimate. And then Silk Thread goes in with the Dragon Blade. That was the difference in that fight.
Spent half the time chopping up a Torbjorn turret, but again, that is a target that demands attention. A cantankerous defensive composition for the Spitfire, and now the Valiant want to go for more. They found Vidocin up on the high ground. Fisher's very low inside his bubble, but Nuss is even lower, and they're looking to pick off the Mercy. Nuss attempts to escape, but it's no good, and this beautiful dive core made up, especially by the Frenchman here on this side, is getting the job done. Fury with a D-suit, self-destruct laid down, but that was just for Envy to get back in his mech. Fisher and Bird Ring are getting job done, but Fury won't have a chance to resuit.
Yeah, the payload has not made any progress because Bird Ring and Fisher go all the way to the payload. They eliminate a few players there from the side of the Los Angeles Valiant. And as though the Valiant had a great dive in the background with Soon. We see Fate there doing a ton of work. Not able to make much progress with that payload.
So a lot of aggression, but again, not maybe much objective time there. They need to go wins back to spend 7 minutes on the payload. It's more French representation and also a good caddy to move that along. Shout out to him.
See in the next fight for the Los Angeles Valiant. Silk Thread gets very close to a Dragon Blade. Nothing really they can do at this point. Bird Ring uses the Pulse Bomb, takes out Kareem, so potentially just trying to draw out some ultimates here from the London Spitfire. Fate uses the Primal Rage, so not going to have that one in the next fight. London will have their Valkyrie, they will have their Dragon Blade. They're going to have a self-destruct here as well, and And the Los Angeles Valiant have a little bit of a spawn advantage, right, with how close that payload is around the corner. They do get a deep mech. It's going to force Fury to use his self-destruct soon there for a second. It's very close, uses the recall to get out of the way. Fisher goes a little bit too deep. They get that pick, they force the Valkyrie though early.
That's big, they're looking for that one. Bidossin does have the Transcendence, but the Valiant are absolutely relentless. Perdring dropping, that's going to have to be a Resurrect here. Surely if it's available for Nuff, he has to go, and he does. Silver now ready to counter this out. The Dragonblade coming in, he's timed it well. Looking for the Zenyatta, he's found it, Bidossin drops. But now, further targets don't seem to be within reach of Silk Thread. The pick was enough though. Now their Valkyrie coming after the fact is enough to keep them going. This is the progress they need to be making right now. With 2 minutes on the clock, a clean fight. Forcing out the Valkyrie early, and now Unco has a Transcendence. Bidossin used his to little or no avail late in the fight.
So maybe what you could see from London in this next fight, Fisher gonna get that Primal Rage. You get the Primal Rage, you jump onto Unco, you try and force that Transcendence out, you wait it out with the Primal Rage, Winston gets so much HP, and then you come back with the Dragon Blade and hold on the defensive end.
Might have the right idea. Yep, Fish has gone for the Primal Rage, and now Unco still hasn't used that Transcendence. Keep an eye on the tick next to his name up the top. The Prophet's looking for the Dragon Blade. Doesn't quite get the damage up on high on Kareem, but he chases him. He's dogged, relentless in his pursuit of his winged targets. Prophet down to 30 HP, but a bit of extra heal should get the job done. And Unco does use the Transcendence in that fight. It doesn't really save the Valiant, but it's a chance. Soon wants to bring things back. Pulse Bomb's there. He's looking to finish off Fish, and then 3 in the fight. Make it 4, he gets the D-suit. I'll count that as a kill, just for the sake of argument. Soon goes absolutely big, and the French Tracer showing why he's a top 3 player at Tracer in this Overwatch League. Oh, lucky. Bidossin, 2 big kills and might actually sew things up here.
Yeah, they're going to get Kareem back in the fight. He's going to try and get the res off. He's going to get it on a Silk Thread, because Silk Thread has that Dragon Blade. See if he decides to use it. It's going to be London putting a ton of pressure on that high ground as they will finish off the last few kills. Bidossin goes huge there for the London Spitfire.
We thought it was all over there after Soon finds 4 kills in total, but Bidossin gets 2 quick ones of response, and see his team is spawning far closer to the payload. There's a defender's advantage here.
And we were talking about, Fisher using that Primal Rage to get the Transcendence out of Unco. He didn't actually force the Transcendence. What he did is he actually used Primal Rage, jumped to the high ground, and he knocked Unco all the way back by that archway, which makes it very difficult. He has to use the Transcendence to get back in. It gives Prophet a window to use that Dragon Blade to pick up some kills.
Work it did. Now a lot of ultimates on the Spitfire. It's not really a great situation for the Valiant that only have the Dragon Blade to really work on. It's a self-destruct, but Envy might have just been looking for the D-suit here. He does get back in, so he has an opportunity to use that. Fate gets taken out by a Pulse Bomb early. A terrible start to the fight for the Valiant. Silk Thread with the blade. Finds Prophet, but again, the Mock Lady. Nuss is already getting a Resurrect. It's pretty much counted out the effect of that Dragon Blade entirely, and now the Valiant are running out of steam. Transcendence in over the point here. Silk Thread looking to make a difference, but it's so hard. Big bodies to try and cut through, and they get rid of him. The Spitfire now starting to stand tall as Fate and Envy are completely split apart in this fight. Yes, they find Nuss, but they need to get on the payload. No! Not gonna happen with the self-destruct.
We're on with Soon a little bit, kind of, poking, prodding, maybe trying to get that back up, working through that left-hand side. At that moment, London Spitfire, they leave 2 tanks and Bidossin on the payload. They have Nuss using Valkyrie. They're letting just Birdring and Prophet just go in so deep, just trying to get those supports out of the equation early in the fight. And you don't mind them dropping because you just fly down, get that res, get back towards that payload. Nobody's kind of capping it in. And they're able to get Prophet, but then they just res him right back up, and he has that Dragon Blade, just goes to work.
And for the sake of interest, by the way, the Valiant got about as far through the map as the Spitfire themselves did against the Mayhem in their match, right? When the payload gets very close to that second checkpoint, it is the longest distance on the map for attackers to have to return to the payload, right? There's a distinct defender's advantage as they spawn inside the Lumerico facility. They're quite close to the payload. And again, trading 1-for-1 as attackers is not sufficient.
And even the route you have to go as the attackers to get back towards that payload.
Treacherous.
The defense can set up on the high ground. They can get a lot of damage as you just kind of walk out of that archway, towards that street to round the corner. And it's very difficult if you're like, let's say, Zenyatta, like Unco, just kind of coming down there. If you have somebody up on the high ground, it's a fairly simple kill, right? Especially if it's like a Tracer just looking out, she sees you alone, just 2 blinks, a full clip, a recall, you're dead.
And one of those last fights, think about the effort that Unco had to go to get up on that high ground. It would have been a long walk for him to make sure he was in like a safe vantage point. And to have all that denied from him immediately by Fisher jumping up and knocking him down was devastating. Getting him into a dangerous area really made the fight a lot easier for the Spitfire. It also forced ultimates, not to mention the transcendence from Unco that we were hoping for Valiant fans they'd hold on to and make it a bit more of a competitive one. But now on defense, let's see if the Valiant can pony up and prevent the Spitfire getting all the way home.
See Prophet playing Widowmaker for the London Spitfire. It seems to be a hero that just kind of goes back and forth depending on what they want to run with it.
It's Bird Ring, you know?
Yeah, when it seems like they want to run, Genji with the Widowmaker, they'll have Bird Ring play the Widow. This time they want Tracer in, so they have Prophet run the Widowmaker.
That was almost a very dead Winston there. Prophet just needed the one more shot to clean up the big monkey man. Wasn't enough. Soon's going to find Fisher, and Prophet's going to be harassed out here. He needs to be careful. It's not just Soon looking for him. You can see that already Fate had tried to cross the gap and get back towards a smug purple lady. But Prophet has a lot of room to breathe here, and the rest of his team are the ones that are causing this. They're giving him space.
But just look at how much the Los Angeles Valiant has to do to get him out of this situation, right? Fate has to jump up as Winston. Envy has to be there with Defense Matrix to protect him from getting headshotted as he jumps on in, and then Soon has to come from that left-hand side. A lot of resources. It'll be Nuss using the Valkyrie here to engage for the London Spitfire.
This is definitely going to be a Spitfire 1 fight. Quite comfortable here. Kareev and Unco were so close to their defensive ultimates, but neither was able to stay alive long enough to get them back. There's just no way they can come back. A beautiful fight from the Spitfire. I've got to say the timing of their kills on the supports was excellent. They did use a Valkyrie, but they still have a Transcendence. That's such a cheap fight to win. A great start from London.
And as soon as London picks up some kills, Prophet goes to that high ground on the archway. Nuss follows him up with a damage boost. They take out Unco, so potentially, if they tried to stagger that fight out a little bit longer, the Valiant, you would have had that Transcendence coming in from Unco a little bit later. They take him out before even a chance to get back in the fight.
They really weren't a factor. The Spitfire looking far stronger in that fight, despite the fact that we saw a lot of pressure on Prophet. The rest of his team was able to get the job done. Oh, that's a pulse bomb on Prophet as he tried to dodge away. Bedosa now sitting in a safe spot. Look at how much room he's giving him and the enemy, but he's so impactful still at extreme ranges.
You'll see Prophet move off of Widowmaker and go over to Genji here because it's so hard to, like we talked about last week, to shoot from that low ground to the high ground, get some of these targets. Especially when the other team's running a really aggressive dive with the Genji Tracer themselves. You can just jumped on, not really a lot of areas to run as Widowmaker. Genji obviously pretty easy to get to this high ground. Start to control it for yourself if you're London.
See Prophet there just really made Silk Thread sweat purely from the fact that he was hitting so many shurikens on his opposition Genji. Surfing down, seeing Kareev. Target acquired, perhaps. He knows now that Mercy's sitting back in the distance now. He's going to try and peel back towards Fate, but this might be dangerous. Primal Raid's coming out from Fate. You see Prophet respects this, just gets away, trying to move the payload. You see the Spitfire, half the team is happy to engage. Even if they get taken down, they know they need this payload. Progress Soon walks into a shuriken headshot and the Swift Strike. The combo was enough to clean up the Tracer.
Yeah, London's getting a really good fight here. They may not win it, so to speak, but they forced out Valkyrie. They're trying to force out that Transcendence on the other side as well from Unco. Unco holds on to it. So they make some payload progress. They force out one support ult from the side of the Valiant. Now they come back. They have both of their support ults, and they have the Dragon Blade here. It's a very good push from the Spitfire.
At no stage on this defensive side have the Valiant had control. It's always been about the Spitfire. They've just gamed this perfectly. The machinations, of course, of this Korean team. But a little bit too much, and now it's going to be the Dragon Blade in. Kareev just got melted instantly. Unco, it's a quick 180 from Prophet, and he's removed. Fate is also executed. 3 men down, and the Valiant really getting no progress at all. Fisher and Prophet, the only players in the fight to get kills. That's all that London needed, and now they're on the final stretch home.
Yeah, now Nuss and Valkyrie was able to get all the way back to Bedosa to heal him up because you had Soon and Silk Thread diving that Zenyatta on the back of the payload. You figure if you are the Valiant, your best chance there was to dive Bedosa and get him to use the Transcendence a little bit early.
Oh my God!
They have it in the next fight. They get Kareev right away. It's going to be Silk Thread with a Dragon Blade trying to make a play.
No one does it like these guys when it comes to dive, Matt. Silk Thread having to back away from the Tesla rifle, knows his life is in danger. Pulse Bomb drop, does get the DC on Fury, but Silk Thread has to just run away. He's pretty much on his own now, and he's swatted aside with just the right hand. And that's all that the Spitfire really had to commit to that fight, and now it's Fate on his own, surrounded upon all sides. What a stunning Dorado play from the London Spitfire. They're already well and truly awake. And it's early in the series, but already Big Ben is ringing out as London make a strong statement early.
It's a huge second fight there in the second phase of the game. They're coming around the corner. They're getting payload progress. They got some support ults out from the side of the Los Angeles Valiant. Prophet gets his blade, and you do not have a support ult on your side. You're going to lose 2 or 3 players, and they have such a huge advantage at that point. London is able to secure map number 1.
In two of the biggest fights on the London Spitfire's attack, they had managed their ult economy such that they had 5 ultimates to the Valiant's 1. On that first point and on that second stage, and the Spitfire are really just rolling through. You can see their understanding. You can see the cogs turning in these guys' heads, and a Valiant now need to bounce back because the London Spitfire have definitely shored up this Dorado map. There's no doubt about it. We're gonna head to a break, and in a moment, of course, map 2 will be around the corner. Let's see if we get ourselves a nice close stash between the top Western team, arguably, and this incredible London roster.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
Wow, Birdring is becoming nearly unstoppable.
Rascal is putting down so much damage.
Rascal, Birdring, some of the best CPS players in this whole league.
제가 오버워치 초창기 이제 팀을 아마추어 팀을 들어갈 때
같이 이제 다시 한 팀으로 뛸 수 있게 되었었을 때 굉장히 되게 기뻤었던 것 같아요. 사실 서로 같은 팀에서 뛰지 못했었기 때문에.
Birdring knows where he is and punished.
Rascal, you give a guy that much space who's that talented, he's going to make you pay for it.
근데 또 제 옆에 있는 라스카를 항상 또 잘하는 것 같고 해서 약간 부럽고 그런 건 있는 것 같아요.
서로 각자 알아서 잘할 거기 때문에 서로 이제 도움을 주고 많이 이끌어준다기보다는 각자 잘해서 정상에서 만나고 막 이런 식으로.
That was a masterclass from the Spitfire. It's the perennial problem, isn't it, Matt? Being a player in a team with incredible DPS players already and then trying to find your way into the roster. But no one can deny that Rascal has already long ago demonstrated his potential and prowess as an individual. We talked about it, and the idea around him has kind of been coming in to be that wild card.
Yeah.
Kind of playing those roles, Matt, that perhaps is not normal. He's obviously coming in here, he's being subbed in. But I know that Rascal wants to be more than just a wild card player. He wants to be more than just a specialist for those sort of really niche heroes.
Well, I mean, you heard Birdring talk about it, how talented and kind of jealous he is when he looks at Rascal's screen. With a guy that talented, he wants to play all the time. So it'll be Rascal coming in for Profit on the side of London Spitfire, then Agility's coming in for Silk Thread for the Los Angeles Valiant. Agility's a very good Genji player, a good Roadhog player as well. Be interested to see what they roll him out here on Horizon.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen him play Farah even in the past as well. He's even dabbled in the Doomfist area. Horizon Lunar Colony is where we're heading next. Stargazers Rejoice. And it might be that we're going to be seeing more of that triple tank look from the Valiant. We've now seen, of course, this Orisa Roadhog setup really come to the fore in terms of trying to counter dive. And if you read sort of interviews as well, there was one on Invent recently, I think, with Nas, and he said that dive is the way to go, right?
Yeah.
Dive is the way to play this game right now, and there are teams, cough, cough, Dallas Fuel, that perhaps aren't feeling great about using dive. So now it's about trying to counter that strategy. How do we deal with this aggression, this raw Genji, Tracer, Winston dive? How do we respond to that? And now we're starting to see that Orisa, that Roadhog, the Junkrat come in.
Yeah, that's really kind of your main three, right?
Sure.
I mean, Roadhog can just live for so long, has a large HP pool, and then can regenerate a lot of that. This take a breather ability, and then just the amount of damage that Junkrat can put down on these low HP targets. We're talking about your Genjis, your Tracers. He can just burst them down so quickly.
Yes, I mean, Roadhog effectively has almost 1,000 health points because you have 500 HP to start with. You take a breather, it gives you, what, 300? But you also have the damage mitigation during take a breather.
And you're most likely getting healed from a healer at some point.
And that's why it's such a big player. It can be such a big shift if you can get a Mercy Resurrect onto that Roadhog. Can mean a lot. Obviously, there's some fun backstory on this map. If you get a chance in your games to have a look around at some of the things, you can even find Baby Winston's room, which is really cool. So this is not a drill. No, the Valiant have been running the gauntlet. This is not practice anymore. We're not in the scrim world. It's serious business out here.
And you will see from the London Spitfire on defense, they will have that Roadhog, Orisa, Junkrat combination. And you'll have Birdring playing the Widowmaker up top. So it's likely give him the damage boost, be able to put down even more damage when that dive comes through, potentially.
This is fun, though. Unco's Moira is something we haven't seen much of in the past. That's going to be a heck of a lot of fun as they try and get in. They're going to play Kariv on the Lucio, so two different assignments in supports for these two.
Yeah, so they'll play quad tank, so a really beefy lineup coming out from the Los Angeles Valiant. You have the speed boost from Kariv, and then just the AoE healing that Unco can put down on Moira. They'll probably try and push to the point right away.
The Reinhardt's going to make it very difficult for Birdring to get easy damage with that Widowmaker. Everyone's going to sit behind the shield and speed boost and run across. You can see that's the plan. Get into position early. Despite that, we still saw Soon take quite a lot of damage, and Unco's already 35% on that Coalescence.
I was going to say, just watch how fast Unco will be able to build up to this Moira ult. 51% and counting. You're able to generate so much when you have the large tank, and it'll be Agility. It's taking out Fury here first. And this position is going to make it very difficult for Birdring to get any kind of line of sight on the Widow.
That Biotic Orb is doing so much healing, such that Unco already has Coalescence available. It ignores shields. It's going to cut straight through and damage people like Fisher trying to stand behind it. You can't block it with a defense matrix, and now it comes out here. Unco, you can see the healing and the damage being provided. An attempted halt there just helped Unco. All of his team was bunched together, so the healing was easy to provide. But Rascal was working around in the side, finds Unco now. But Dosen, it's dangerous territory up on this point, and he is going to be put under scrutiny by the entirety of the Valiant. Comfortable point take, and they're out of the gate so fast.
And the only one that drops here is going to be Unco. He's going to go over to Sombra to get back in the fight quick, because the Valiant, the player advantage right now coming right back towards the point. They're going to roll the tanks out again.
One tick, already got one tick. The Valiant really starting to speed up here. Okay, blistering pace here for the Los Angeles squad, but there's more work to be done now, especially with the Transcendence being drawn out of Fidosa, but that's always a good thing. Agilities doesn't quite connect the hook on towards Nuss, but Fisher is going to fall. The whole hog is going to force all the Spitfire away. Nuss risks his life to go for the res, and it works out. That might have been the play to end this one. Birdring falls, chain hook from Agilities connects, but it's really the only kill happening in this fight. Soon, the sole victor there in his little 1v1. But have a look at this. Look at some of these ultimates coming up now for the Valiant.
So they're going to have an Earth Shatter, a Graviton Surge, a Self-Destruct coming in. Unco, they'll reset that ult. He goes over to Sombra, now goes back to Moira. You just really want her for that great AoE heals. So London, we saw them use their Valkyrie. They're going to have a Riptire. Birdring goes off of Widowmaker, goes the Reaper. So the Reaper Junkrat combination just puts down so much damage on these tanks to whether they can kill them in time before, you know, all that healing comes
This
through.
composition is all about getting up in the Spitfire's face, and the Reaper is a good response to close quarters combat. Birdring's going to jump in there as well, concerned about whether he was going for the Death Blossom, but it's not the case. He's forced the Shatter Form out of there. That's going to be the Earth Shatter coming in. Doesn't connect on many people, and Rascal, he finds the jackpot of a Riptire. Unco and Fate are down. Earth Shatter was used to no avail. Soon has a Graviton Surge, but he won't get a chance to use it here.
And because point B is so open, you can spread out. It's very hard to land like a great Graviton Surge where you see like 3-4 players
any
stuck
AoE
inside of it.
really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much open area. So soon will fall late in the fight. They'll come back in. But the grab is such a good ultimate that you don't really want to just kind of give it up for nothing, right? You want to at least get it out there. You don't want to have him switch right away.
There's a scary combo here as well. Whole Hog into Graviton Surge is especially scary because Whole Hog would be overpowered if it didn't push people away. They take less damage as they get knocked away from the scrap gun going crazy, but Graviton holds people in place. Agilities will get max damage out of it. Oh, that's a good idea, but no, the Self-Destruct doesn't quite get it. Attempts to go from downtown. Didn't quite line it up the way they should have, and they kind of wasted a Graviton. There was no chance for the Valiant to follow up on that big Zarya ultimate. Coalescence comes in, but it's answered out by Transcendence, and Unco's found himself alone with Birdring, but he thinks better of it. Birdring doesn't want to fight the Moira here. Despite her mobility, she's going to drop down Fury with 3, and it looks like, Matt, the Valiant had the right idea. They had a combo in mind, it just didn't work out.
And Rascal had used another Riptire in this fight. So you know he's getting a ton of just damage down on the Junkrat, able to just charge that ult rather quickly. The LA Valiant, they'll switch things up though. Agilities will go over to Genji, he'll have soon go back to Tracer, and Unco will play Zenyatta here. So you're gonna have a Kariv also switches over to Mercy. So
it's a big change, but they use many of their ultimates. So, oh, hello! Yeah, we're gonna like this. A little bit of May on the point from Rascal will be fun. Oh! Gonna have to chill out soon. Rascal's just putting you on ice. Endothermic Blaster there, claiming the headshot is a heck of a lot of damage potential if you can nail these very difficult shots.
It's going to be very hard for the flankers to get in. They in the equation, so they get Fisher maybe dove in a little bit too deep here. It's going to be Rascal putting up a Maywall, traps 3 in. He gets taken out though.
Birdring decides that he hasn't had enough of the spotlight so far, and he decides to get a little bit of breakdancing in the middle of the Valiant setup. And what a great way to protect them from what would have been a 6v4 situation.
Trap those players in with the Maywall, then you use the Death Blossom. Be Birdring now going over to Tracer. So now that a lot of the tanks are out of the equation here, for the Valiant, don't really need the Reaper as much. And that's an interesting spot. You actually saw, I believe it was, yeah, it's Rascal building that Maywall. Looks like for Bedosin to get up on that higher platform in that back right.
Keeps him a bit safer, is harder to access from the ground. So someone like Soon is not going to be able to jump on Bedosin. This is a really powerful approach. It means that Agilities and Fate and only people with any verticality can actually access him.
And it gives Nuss somewhere to fly to where you can't get kind of picked off by Tracer.
It's a great point. It's a very important for Mercy. If you don't have any airborne allies, we'll get back to that point though, I think now, as Kariv's actually committed his Valkyrie to this fight. Bringing Unco and Fate back, but Rascal's going to have a Blizzard very soon. Soon takes one. Ice Spike thinks better of it, forced to recall early in the fight. Rascal goes for the wall, now for the Blizzard. Who's going to be caught in this one? Looks like Fate might struggle. He's going to get taken down anyway. Fury Enemy drops in, but isn't caught by the Blizzard. Soon gets in late enough not to be frozen. Solid! Oh, that was a close one. Bedosin gets back into spawn and Birdring punishes Agilities and nothing's going right for the Valiant. Using all these ultimates, committing Pulse Bombs, Dragon Blades, all in sundry, as well as a Valkyrie, and getting little done.
In the May Blizzard, it doesn't like really kind of result in like a ton of kills on that point, but it just forces them to split on out. So he drops that Blizzard down on the point. Half the players have to go over towards that left side, no, by that truck. The others have to go towards that right. It allows London to just kind of pick one side, eliminate those players, then work back towards those other players. And it also stops the Los Angeles Valiant from making progress on the point.
So, this perch is very, very hard to shake opponents from. Obviously, we saw the Outlaws especially use this. Well, this happens all the time. In fact, this happened to Unco yesterday, actually. Great start to the fight from Bedosin, and now Birdring's going to look for a little bit of extra. The fight's already won, but again, he's looking just to get some more stagger, especially now with 1 minute and 23 on the clock for the Valiant. It's not much time to work with. They don't have many ultimates to play into. Agilities is forced to go to the Soldier 76, which is normally a role we see Silk Thread fill.
Well, it's difficult for a lot of teams to break this setup when they have that high ground up in the rafters. When you see the defensive team running the Junkrat, it's a little bit different with Mei, right? Because you're trying to get through that top choke, and she can just wall off half of your team. Then what? You have your 76 maybe stuck there alone, and then you have just this dive come down. Another pick here for Bidosin early.
Beautiful. He's won the last 2 fights on his own. And this is getting very crucial now. If that happens again, the Valiant are going to have to commit possibly a Valkyrie if Kariv has it, just to actually get in fighting position.
Yeah, but you see where that Mei wall came a little bit late there after the pick already happens. And that Mei wall comes out, nobody else from the Valiant can come on through. If you have no agilities coming on through with Kariv, and let's say he's getting damage boosted, you're basically getting the 76 in the Mercy for free there, with the other not able to respond. That is filthy.
Heads will roll, and this time it's the Frenchman's to go. Bidosin earned himself the Transcendence there, which was probably not necessary in this particular fight, but still. He's made his point. He's punctuated it with a very impressive ability effect. But the agility's going down, so the Spitfire are committing a bit to this fight. They know it's a long walk back for the Valiant. They're down to 10 seconds now to get them to the point. Self-destruct's gonna be there for Fury, but Los Angeles have both the support ultimates. It's now or never. That should be pretty clear to you right now, and Fury's gonna head for the sky again. Get a commanding view of the situation to drop back down now. Micro Rocket's thrown into Fury to try and chunk him out. Transcendence going out early. Nussa's brought Fisher back up. He dropped right at the start of that fight, and they recover him there with that Mercy Resurrect. But Fury now looking for his opposite take. Fate takes down Bidosin, but Fate's gonna be chased down himself with agilities. Gets himself a Helix Rocket kill and Birdring off camera. Now the Reza start coming in thick and fast. Bidosin's back, Fisher down. Fury going in now. It's gonna be the self-destruct over the point. Trying for the Bunny Blaster, but gets nothing. Now it's going to be an attempt at the Doom Fist for Rascal. No! He gets shut down as well. Nothing to be done. No punching. It's not subtle. It's not pretty. But the Valiant, at the very least, get themselves over the line and give themselves a fighting chance in this match. Definitely not subtle. It's like plastic surgery with a sledgehammer, Matt. You know what? Sometimes you just got to get it done. Hey. Pretty intense round.
Yes.
Let's hear a little bit about what was going on inside the comms for the Valiant before we break this down a bit more.
Go left, go left, go left. Hold on. Are you ready? I'm ready. Speed. 올 타워. Discord. Yeah, back remain. Jump remain. Hold on. I need to trap. Widow main. Hold on. Widow Zen main. Always, Uncle watch out. Widow Zen main. I have to charge my shield. I have two. Widow main. All time to come.
I love the communication there from the Valiant. You kept hearing them just kind of talk where Birdring is, because on the Widowmaker, if he's in that front, nobody's really acknowledging it. They have targets just walking onto the point. That's where he would have been able to make a difference. As soon as they address where he is, always keeping an eye on where that Widowmaker is, it's not really much of a place he can make an effect.
And you can see that someone like Unko in that situation, he's not playing the Zenyatta, so there's no need to be calling out those Transcendence targets. He doesn't want to flood the communications for the rest of his team. Also, Benny doesn't say too much anyway. He's a man of few words. When you do get a conversation with him, it's generally fairly short, but it's to the point. I like that about him. But he knows the tanks. Very vocal on the side of the Valiant, and that's a big reason why their dive has been so effective in the past. But this is that different look for them now, and I mean, soon on McCree is going to make me happy. I like this composition from the Valiants.
It's pretty similar to what we saw the Spitfire run. Instead of a Widowmaker, though, you'll run McCree. Could be a little bit more of a versatile option than the Widowmaker if London does decide to go with a little bit of a tank-heavy lineup, go towards the point. London, though, they'll run with a Sombra on offense. It'll be Bidosin playing that role, so you're able to hack the health packs, farm up that EMP. Really makes it difficult for a lot of the heroes on the side of the Valiant to do much of anything.
This is definitely the play here. Bidosin gets himself deep now. He doesn't have his Translocator up for a couple seconds. It's available now. And again, look at the Valiant already pulled onto the point there. They really respect the ability of this Sombra to mess them up here. Bidosin playing with fire, and now the Spitfire move to the point.
Well, with that Translocator, Sombra can just get out of harm's way rather quickly, and she can be quite annoying for supports to play against in the back. You see it's going to be 2 kills. Kariv falls in agility, so you lose a lot of the damage from Junkrat, and you lose your resurrections here for the LA Valiant.
Okay, the Valiant, interesting, they pull off the point towards the right side here now. Fish is looking very healthy, Envy needs to take a breather. Jumps up there now, dropping down, get flashed up! Unco finishes off the kill, but soon started it there with the flashbang, and Rascal now running out of protection here. He's got a lot of space that he found soon with the poison mine. That's pretty big, but it's rezzed out. First push from the Spitfire, falling flat.
Well, they res Unco, so it's going to take a while to get soon back in the action here. As Rascal getting pressured out here by Agilities, who's moved over to Tracer.
Be careful. Kareem.
Yeah. getting the damage boost as well from Nuss. So
I like this from Rascal, you know. We're seeing a couple of looks from him. He's also trying to prod and poke at the Valiant to get them to move out of position, but what a perfect start to the fight. Bidoosin goes down. He does have an EMP, but he won't get to use it this fight. Precious seconds being bought for the Valiant, who of course don't have a time bank to lean on at all.
They're going to build up towards a Transcendence. They're going to get a over here. Oh, didn't expect that one to happen. Envy with a hook. Comes on the flank, takes Rascal out. So you're really playing around this EMP of Bidoosin. Need to get great use out of this EMP. You only have the one support ult with Valkyrie coming online soon. Rascal with the infrared sight will be able to give a really good line of Bidoosin where to use that EMP.
And where to find the Zenyatta.
Yes.
That's important. Unko has a Transcendence. He knows Bidoosin has EMP, so he's going to be very, quick on the trigger finger to try and get that Transcendence done. Bidoosin, still no chance to use that ultimate at all. No EMP again, and Fury just has to give a bit of respect here. But Unko's down, and maybe this Mercy Res might be the start of something new. Yes, Bidoosin's back. EMP now is back on the table, but so is Unko. Transcendence is available, but that's the EMP. Unko did get hit with the EMP. He does go down without getting to use his trans at all. But he's back, he gets rezzed, he brings it out, but it might be a little bit too late here. You can see Fate is off the table. Pulse bombs from both traces doing work. Kareem found Rascal in the fight. Widowmaker's out of the picture. Fury back, has a chance to get his resuit at the very least, and Envy's found Birdwing. Fisher down, Unko's getting it done. 2 ticks though, and the Valiant might just have to back away from this one and respect.
Yeah, the Valiant lose their tanks. It'll be London taking point A. And Bidoosin already up to 60% and counting. Look how fast he's
Are they going to catch him here?
Oh, EMP, and they get Unko as well. Look how close he's building towards the EMP already at 91%. You're going to have it again here as we approach point B.
McCree for Rascal here, Deadeye from up high. Could be scary, but look at this. London are going to push the issue. They're going to pressure this one out. Momentum. They're going to try and use some of it. Self-destruct is there. EMP was used already. Now Fury again, trying to hunt down Sue, but he recalls out of the situation. He actually somehow... seeing Rascal get caught out by the micro rockets there, the McCree getting dived. This is something LA are good at doing. We actually saw an attempt for New York to play McCree on this very map, and they jumped on him very effectively. That was a bit of sweaty for the Valiant. Let it recover.
My ultimate is charging.
I wonder if we see Bidoosin go over to Zenyatta. You know, he's played Sombra here on offense for most of the game. It looks like here, at least, okay, he's going to switch over to Zen. I was wondering whether you're going to see the Zen or not. You see him switch to Zenyatta here. Now you're just trying to get Rascal some space up on the high ground where he can really go to work as McCree.
Honestly, you're barking up quite an interesting tree playing a McCree against a very proficient dive team like the Valiant. They will go at you on defense. They did it to New York. They almost lost the game as a result of it, but they went for it.
Especially because the Valiant can play on that high ground up in the Raptors and just jump right on you. There's no way that McCree can escape this type of pressure. Forces the Valkyrie out here from the London Spitfire. So see if they can keep going aggressive on this push. Once you invest Valkyrie, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's a tough world for McCree out there. Unfortunately, the Gunslingers, a couple too many miscreants to try and chastise. And again, getting jumped on is not a fun thing at all, but this fight's turning well towards the Spitfire. It's going to be a res on towards Rascal here. So the McCree's back. Fisher makes a pancake out of Kareev. And the Valiant are running low on numbers. Kareev uses Valkyrie a little bit earlier on in the fight. The Deadeye claims Unko, and it could be a big opening here for London.
See if they try and put pressure after you get Unko out, who has Transcendence. So you see just the angles that McCree has to work on here. It's very difficult. Like, if they're playing up in that high ground, like, what do you really do? You can go on that far left, but that is another close area where you can just get jumped on rather quickly. Birdwing connects to the Pulse Bomb on a Fate. There's the Transcendence. It's going to be a Dragon Blade as well here. The agility is getting Bidoosin. They take out Rascal as well. Nuss will use Valkyrie here and get a double res.
Yeah, he's going to have to use it here. I don't think it's going to work out. I think the Valkyrie honestly gets wasted ultimately. With most of Spitfire getting wiped and a couple players getting rezzed, you want to use that Valkyrie in a situation where you lose a couple players and you could still win the fight. But when you commit a Valkyrie into a situation when you're still in like a 3v6 or a 4v6 situation, that's not the best use of the ultimate, and it normally won't save you in that fight.
Unless they thought potentially that Kareev already had built up to his Valkyrie and they could get him to use it as a response.
And that's because it could have used it a lot earlier.
And then you would have came into the next fight, right, with Transcendence and Deadeye, and you would have no support ults. There's the Transcendence that comes out from the London Spitfire. It's going to force the Valkyrie here from the Los Angeles Valiant, and Envy actually connects to the self-destruct on a Nuss there, so you lose your Mercy. Everybody else falling here for London, not looking good.
Talked about momentum earlier on this game, and now it seems to be sitting on the side of the Valiant. They love playing this aggressive style. They love punishing the fact that the enemy has the hubris to bring a McCree in. There's nothing the Valiant love more than doing, hey, Fury, what's up, my man? They wanted to keep you around a little bit longer. It's like you find a creature in your garden, Matt. You put it in a shoebox and try and put some holes so it can breathe and give it some grass to eat just to try and keep that diva around to stall. You ever done that before?
No.
I used to love the creepy crawlies, man. I lived in the country though. I guess there were plenty of them. I don't know how many were in
I lived
Long
in the
Island.
city. Yeah, there's not much there. The Valiant, you have Agility's the Blade here coming in. No support ults for the side of the Spitfire, so you expect this to go pretty well for the Valiant, especially when they get in the close quarters like that. Agility just one dash goes right through two members of the Spitfire. That'll be the D-Mech on a Fury. Fury just left alone here. Take care of Bird Ring, so there's the cleanup that comes in for the Valiant. Kind of expected that though, when you have the Blade, that type of situation. With a minute to go, you've really committed to this McCree for a very long time for the Spitfire. You haven't really been able to get a great line of sight advantage to use it. It's Valiant come in with both support ults here. It's looking really good for Los Angeles.
That McCree's done more harm than good for the Spitfire. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's overconfidence or perhaps they believe in his particular composition. But the fact, like, he sucks against dive. I'm just going to put it out there. Look at that. Oh, Pulse Bomb does get eaten actually by the Korean. Future dives in, but it's a slap to the back of the head. Rascal brought back from his reverie and reminded exactly where he is right now. This is the Valiant's home by the looks of things. And they're going to go for another aggressive dive, another capitulation from the Spitfire, and their last push is rapidly approaching.
Look, I think McCree can do some nice things, but just on this map with the choke points he has to go through, not have the most mobility, it's very hard to get him into a position where he can really start to go to work. So London Spitfire, you have a chance maybe to touch the point here with Bird Ring. You have Rascal with a Deadeye, you're gonna have Nuss with Valkyrie here. Unko on the other side will have a Transcendence for the LA Valiant. We'll just pay attention to Agility. He's not close to a Dragon Blade yet, but if the fight extends for a very long time,
Rascal down.
learn it.
Rascal down is going to be an instant resurrect. Now they're looking for Bedosian as well. Pulse Bomb was dropped on him. Both support now. Need to really wake up here. Nuss needs to get that resurrect on Bedosian, but he can't. It's soon on towards Rascal. Rascal's died twice in this fight. Now Fate gets brought back to life. Fury chasing onto Soon. One tick now for the Spitfire. They need a lot more than that, but again, Nuss is doing so much healing from up in the air. Resuit here and attempted from Envy. Now just to stall this one out a little bit more. There's a Dragon Blade for Agilities. Agilities has to go big now. He needs to get in to get this one done. There's only the one support ultimate here for the Spitfire. The Transcendence could take his day apart. Oh, that's two! Agilities needs more though. The Mercy might be down, but there's more work to be done. Soon dodging up on that point there, and Fisher finds a Primal Rage kill. Soon is stalling. He must stay alive, but he just can't do it. Bedosian cuts him down. Oh, it's neck and neck. 1 minute in the bank for both of these teams, and this map, Matt, is going all the way.
Nuss uses that Valkyrie to keep Fisher, Bird Ring, and Fury alive there on the point. Bedosian comes in with a Transcendence towards the end just to keep everybody topped off. For a second, I thought Agilities with Death Dragon Blade was going to make the difference.
Like another Contenders 5?
Yeah, where he just goes through like 3 or 4 players.
So let me just explain the situation here for us, because we don't often see this. Generally speaking, if Team A finishes the map with no time left, i.e. in overtime, and Team B manages to finish it with time in the bank, normally Team A doesn't have another shot to attack. But both of these teams finish the map in overtime. So that would generally mean that we don't really have a winner yet. So the game gives both teams 1 minute to get as much done as they possibly can. Usually that equates to probably 2 pushes. Sometimes you can get some ultimates on that second push. It really depends on, defenders here probably have a bit of an advantage, obviously just being defenders as well. If they win that first fight out, it's possible to have big ultimates to come in with. So again, 1 attack, maybe 2.
Looks like we'll have London on defense here. The only change they make from their first defensive stand is that they have Bird Ring play Tracer here instead of the Widowmaker, which I like that because when we went into the comms of the Valiant, they did a nice job figuring out where Bird Ring was on the Widowmaker. He wasn't able to get line of sight when they went with that tank-heavy lineup towards the point. Now with the Tracer, he'll be able to maybe pick off one of these supports in the back, right? Maybe he can get Kareev.
They've got rid of the Widow this time. They've got the Junkrat. They knew it would be a multi-tank composition. That's an excellent response from the Spitfire. Look at how much damage the Valiant are taking just trying to get in position. Fate's already down, and they don't have a Mercy.
It's huge. You get the Junkrat, it's the same composition they ran, except they don't have the Roadhog. They have Fury on Diva this time, and then you have Bird Ring playing Tracer instead of Widow, so you're able to finish off some of these Junkrat kills when he's just spamming down
he's got
large tank targets. And oh, look at this. So it's actually Bird Ring putting some pressure on Fate here in the squad, who's playing the Rhine.
This is so clever.
Not allowing the shield to come back in. That's going to allow Junkrat to get a ton of free damage. The tire already. That is such a smart play there from Bird Ring.
The London Spitfire know exactly what they're doing. They've planned this perfectly. You can see that Envy tries to jump into Fisher with a rocket boost, but Fisher had that extra resilience, of course, using Fortify. He'll be immune to CC and damage, or at least a degree of it, and that was convincing. I mean, this is tough. When the game gets to this kind of knife edge, you've got 1 minute left each. The response and composition was so good for the Spitfire.
And I love how we caught that play from Birdring, because sometimes we don't like see those little types of like, mental plays on the map, but when he goes back and he puts some shots in a Fate, you don't have that Reinhardt shield that just kind of come on back for the Los Angeles Valiant. So what does that mean? It allows Rascal to put down a ton of damage as Junkrat because you don't have any shield for the Valiant to walk onto the point. And what does Fate do in that situation, right? Does he go back to the spawn and switch to Winston, trying to like outrun?
Well, he can't.
Birdring,
if he's left on his own up against the Tracer, he will ultimately fall unless the Tracer makes a huge blunder.
Which Birdring won't do.
Yeah, these guys, man, I'm telling you, they really have this down to an art, an understanding of exactly how to exploit the fact that the enemy team has a low margin of error, or a very thin one, and the fact that they have very little time left. Really clever.
And it's just the teamwork and coordination, right? Because you probably have, you know, a split-second decision, you know, as a team to decide, do we send Birdring to the point? Do we send him all the way to the opposing spawn? You have to have a good track of, you know, who's already dead, who's spawning up, where everybody is, right? Because, you know, if he would have went back and you could have had maybe the Lucio go back and try and, like, speed Fate back on in, you could have gotten Book, you know, pushed away, could have been a little bit more interesting, but so smart from the London Spitfire. Now they'll go with their own tank-heavy composition here on the offense.
Again, the risk is here if the Valiant give up 1 tick on the payload, on the point, should I say, not even 3. That will be a victory for the Spitfire here in this overtime. So it is very tense. It is very close these two teams are playing. See, Envy already backing up here, just trying to make sure he can keep an eye on the Spitfire, and that the Valiant can drop to the point quickly if they need to.
And the Valiant, they go all the way, they wrap back towards the point. When you push through that lower choke, that's where Junkrat can do a ton of damage here. They're going to opt us to fight this on the point.
He's going to decide the map left.
It's a huge pull there from Envy. Rascal, though, does take out Soon here early.
Envy now forced to back away. Again, a draw is still possible here. If the Spitfire don't take that tick on the point, they need to brawl it out on the point, but they've got big bodies with a lot of HP, and Envy has very little himself. He's down. Trying to pressure Fate was Fisher, but it's a double riptire from Agilities. He may have just bailed the Valiant out, but they need to get on the point. It's almost 1 tick. You can see now it's down to the Mercy just to stall it out. They can't afford to allow that to happen. Kareev valiantly trying to keep his team in this one, no pun intended, but it may not be enough. Too hard to break through the Spitfire. It goes all the way. Overtime comes up. But the Spitfire were a step ahead on both attack and defense.
That was so close, though. Agilities gets both supports with that Riptire. It's just having that quad tank setup. You just have so much large HP pools. Birdring on the Roadhog, he's able to heal himself right back up. And then you had Rascal, you know, putting barriers down on Fisher as Zari, able to just protect him for just a short time. Really tough situation there for the Valiant. Extremely close map number 2.
What a week it's been for the Valiant, having to go up against these top quality teams. But the Spitfire take it all in their stride. Looking good. We still got 2 more to go at the least. Let's hope they're crackers.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP.
All right, welcome to halftime, everybody. Welcome back from the break. Spitfire are up 2-0 versus the LA Valiant. We still have all the fans here. They're making noise. They're going hype. When the LA Valiant, they make a play happen. But crumbs.
They have to be hyped. It was close. Like, these matches have actually been so close. It went to overtime on Horizon, and it was just by a sliver of tick. Almost a draw.
I mean, dude, we're shouting over here like, Fate, just stay alive! And it's not happening. It just did not happen.
Soon's had some ridiculous performances, though, to be honest, across the maps. He's the one guy that everyone needs to be looking forward to in these next 2 maps if they're going to be winning this series out now. If they want to come back, they want that reverse sweep to happen, Soon's going to be the guy.
All right, so, Brent, we're going to go ahead and hop into it. I think you have a play that you want to cover. This is the Intel powered by, well, the Insights rather, powered by Intel.
Insights powered by Intel.
Let's hear it.
It's a beautiful little play that I can show you here, and honestly, it just shows and highlights so well why London are so good with these engages. So firstly, you need to be aware of the fact that Prophet is going to be on that Widowmaker right there. This is important because what it means is that the entirety of this sightline is going to be covered by Widowmaker, which means the positioning of Valiant is forced into these small enclosed areas around these corners. Now, if you noticed as well, the tanks are going to be locked right up here. That's very important now because London Spitfire, they've read this like a book. Now, Fisher, he's at the back lines right now, and he's making some... Ooh, that's not what I want to do, but he's making some plays happen regardless. He's going to be jumping in over the wall into the back, and Birdering and Fury are going to collapse at the exact same time into the building, and just watch how this plays out. It's very nice, very choreographed, and you can see exactly how it works out. So Fisher jumps over to the wall into the back. They time it perfectly. The Valkyrie is used as well by Nuss as well, just to provide the sustenance and the sustain throughout the fight, and he ends up absolutely collapsing on Valiant, reading them like a book. And ultimately, it was just one small play that I thought was pretty good, highlighted why the London Spitfire are going to be one of the best teams in this league, potentially as well. The fact that they can work so well together with such a new sort of roster and mix these players together, that was our Insights powered by Intel, and it was just a wonderful little play.
Good Telestrator segment, Bearbrand.
I mean, you're even getting the magnifying glass in there and everything. I was not confused for a second.
There is also the Widowmaker ult, by the way, popped off to make sure that they knew where everybody was, forcing them into the lines of sight to make sure that, all right,
Crump. If you want the Telestrator, mate, it's right here, pal. Hand it over, okay?
No, Brad, that's you today, man. That's you. You're on point. You're doing a great job. Don't worry. We're going to have, of course, some highlights, some general highlights coming up now. But, I mean, is there anything else that we want to talk about on Dorado? Because I really felt like Lunar as well as Spitfire, but let's go Dorado.
The Torb. But those Torb on the first defense, we can't overlook it. They ran Torb and the Reaper to try to hold off the first point. It didn't really work, to be honest. Torb is not that great of a hero at the moment, but he still did a lot of damage to make sure that he could stall out the point just enough. But what stood out for me was the DPS, of course, but the ones that can actually make things happen on their own, the Tracers, the Genjis, that usually are off on their own mission and actually made it work. Like,
so like Soon, exactly, Soon. And we've got highlights for Soon that we can show. And he is the guy who is going to need, I mean, he's already been stepping up quite massively. That's not Soon, but we will be getting to him.
His name is there.
His name is there. It is there. But still, the point stands, right? Soon, we saw him multiple times getting these pulse bombs, getting these kills, causing a nuisance into the back lines all day long. And London Spitfires, obviously, they know that Soon is one of these players that can solo carry the team.
This one right here is just the second defense of Horizon Lunar that I think really highlights the London Spitfire's ability to be able to read their opponent. Remember on the first attack, they run the quad tank. They're thinking, okay, we need to swap off the Widow into the Reaper, deal with this. But then they started playing on the high ground, on the perches right up on the map, make sure that, okay, when they come in, they have no place to go because none of these tanks besides D.Va can actually go up there, and it resulted in the Valiant trying to actually grab in the high ground with the D.Va bomb. It's just so difficult. You're not really going to expect anybody to pull that off, so a great read from the Spitfire, and I think we can expect them to keep reading into their opponents and playing accordingly.
That's the one recurring theme I've seen throughout this entire series is the fact that London Spitfire are very quick to adapt, and Valiant are taken off guard a little bit. So we get a background there, but they're quick to adapt, right? And Valiant are not. They stuck with the quad tank after they steamrolled the first point on Horizon. We saw, you know, me and you were saying, like, this should have been switched off, but they wanted to hold on to it because they had the Graviton, they had the Earth Shatter, they were holding on to it, and they were waiting because they're big value ultimates. You want to try and get something out of it, but when you're running it into a dive composition onto the last point, you're never going to get a good value ultimate, as we saw from that clip earlier.
I really like Horizon as a map now. I think it's starting
I'm setting it up for you,
on me so much because there's such a diverse strategy that you can apply to, especially first point. You're looking at the quad tank right here. So the Mora we saw on Thursday gets her ultimate in 30 seconds. Unko got it in 43, so they can just steamroll through the first one. And when it comes down to OT, you're basically guaranteed to at least get on the point with this strategy. So Valiant went ahead and tried it again, but it just was not my favorite. When you go for the exact same play by the same route, you're setting yourself up for disaster, and London actually switched it up.
All right, we got to point out as well the fact that Rascal, he's like this Mei specialist, right? Isn't he? He pulls it out in weird situations. I personally think Junkrat is a better hero than Mei on the last point of Horizon.
I like it.
Disagree.
You get spicy here, boys,
disagree,
because yeah,
right?
exactly. Crumbs disagrees with this.
Crumbs was having a go at me while we were watching the game, but so you believe that what? It's more creative, or
well, just because her Icicle can one-shot Tracer.
Okay,
If
yeah,
soon
that's a fair point.
Right.
Right.
You basically
We saw it
have-
happen too.
You have
However,
a death wish for Tracer on your gun.
All right, Brett, I'm going to give you a chance. Get it in here,
Listen,
man.
I gotta get it in. Junkrat can do the same, right? And how much damage?
But
can
wait, no, he
Junkrat
can't.
mines?
Junkrat cannot one-shot Tracer.
When he's
You
damage boosted,
need
he
the
can.
damage boost. So you need
Okay.
two people for that now. May can do it. by
Okay.
herself.
No, man. Brent, what's the point here, mate? I'm
The point
starting
I'm
to
making
drift
here
over.
is Junkrat so good at spamming out these angles that Horizon provides. You can get onto the high ground, play around it. Mei, you can't. Mei, you have to use the ice wall. A lot of abilities to get onto the high ground and play it like London want to do.
But they did it with the Reaper, so Reaper can play off the high ground now.
I'm
So
done.
you
I'm
have
done.
May
Shut
and
up.
Reaper.
Hold
You
on.
saw the wall
I'm done. You
combo
can't be
with
convinced.
Reaper.
You can't be convinced.
Nah, man, you know, when people are obstinate, you know, they're not willing to hear you out. You know, Crumbs, you gotta listen a little bit to Brent. Gotta give him a moment. All right. I do believe, however, we are ready to throw to break and get into the rest of the action here in this series. 2 more maps coming up between the Valiant and the Spitfire. The 3rd map will be Oasis, and of course, bringing you the action will be Uber and X. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
They definitely had to deal with their own mortality there. Keeping the train rolling straight on. And look at how much space Reg has. The Valiant never taste death. And London hit the jackpot.
Just a very nice play there.
Uncle, though, he knew exactly what he was doing. Pick your poison, essentially. There's a lot of threats here. You cheeky little man. If you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, you've missed out on an absolute slapfest between these two teams, the Spitfire, of course, and the Los Angeles Valiant. Again, we said it before, but it's a tough week here for the Los Angeles Valiant, man. We're going up against two of these top Korean rosters here, really having to show their best, already receiving praise as maybe one of the top Western teams, and I wonder, does it have to do much with the fact that the Valiant can really bring out that dive when they need to, but also switch to this Roadhog Aristocomp effectively?
Yeah, they have a great dive. Their tanks are very good. Fate and Envy, they get much better after Contenders. They were not great during
Did they ever?
the Contender season. They come into Overwatch League. They've been playing lights out. I think, you combo them with how great Soon is as a Tracer player coming in, and then you add Unko in terms of support staff. I think this Valiant team really did a nice job leveling up this roster to come into the Overwatch League.
Well, guys, for all those that are thirsty for a bit of brawling action, a bit of rough and tumble on a control map, it's not a Mirage, it is an actual Oasis. We're heading straight there for our next map. Again, another map where we've seen the Valiant be quite good, but the Spitfire just be imperious in many cases.
And this is a map where agilities can really shine. You can play a very good Genji, as we know. Also can play a Pharah. At some points you can run the Orisa with the Roadhog. Now, no subs on both sides, just to kind of keep that clear as we come out of halftime. So Rascal's still in the game here for London.
We saw that Dallas were able to, show up a little bit on this particular map, I think, in the London matchup. So, I mean, London obviously didn't win that one. That was the only map for the series that they dropped. So bear in mind that, the Spitfire have been shown to be fallible on this stage. They've shown to drop this map before, and a team like the Los Angeles Valiant is going to test them. That has got to be sure.
And the Valiant have been extremely close in both of these series. Against New York the other day that we casted, and then here against the Spitfire, you can see the potential with the Los Angeles Valiant. They've been so good. In the first week, they come in here week 2. Even if they end up losing the series to the Spitfire, the series that they played against New York and London, the two closest we've seen thus far to these teams.
Yeah, for the Valiant, it's been close, but no cigar, just like a certain shotgun-toting character in another game entirely. Let's have a look, though, London and Los Angeles. Now we get to see the real fundamental brand of Overwatch, Matt. The fights, set up, work old economy, pressure the enemy team, and go for that mechanical outplay.
You see Lucio on both sides here on Oasis, because, getting that speed boost to the point, getting that control, just map pressure first. So important, as Agilities does not really put a ton of pressure on Rascal in the sky until he gets hit with a rocket. Then he starts to back out, really focusing more on the players on the ground.
Oh, that's nice.
Could potentially allow Soon to finish some of these players off.
Okay, the res on Fake there is really going to give them a bit of a boost going forward now. And Rascal takes another hit. Agilities is actually putting pressure. A second shot, but the healing was there. Agilities now needs to turn and deal with more pressing matters, but it seems like Fisher's already getting out. And he is taken down. A very good start. Agility's bearing down upon Rascal at a rate of knots here, forcing Rascal just to try and boost himself out into the great blue yonder.
I feel like just one shot into Rascal is enough to back him down, and then it forces Nuss to go over, heal him out, so you deny all that mercy healing, potentially on other targets on the point. It's really all Agilities has to do. One shot into Rascal, force him back, then put the damage on the ground, and let Soon and Envy finish these kills off.
Fisher takes a fair bit of damage while he's mid-dive, so by the time he hits the ground, he needs a bit of healing immediately. Pulse Bomb goes up against the wall. It's more decoration than anything else for Soon, and he's actually going to get taken down. Bird Ring combining nicely there with Bedosin to push forward. And Agilities has a real tough one to make a barrage like that work. Most of it's eaten up by the defense matrix, but they're coming back in now. Rezzes are here, Agilities is back, but so is Fury. Both teams are going to be bolstering their numbers for the later part of the fight, and Envy's found Fury here. Micro Rocket's getting the job done, getting rid of the other Diva mech. Fate has a primal rage. He might be looking to interrupt this fight now, as the sound barrier was just used by Bedosin, but it doesn't seem to bother the Valiant much. They're able to sustain through the extra health that the enemy team has. Korea's getting close to his sound barrier, but they might not need it here at all. Primal rage forced out of Fisher.
A lot of ults being invested by the London Spitfire into this fight. Pretty much everything. The Envy getting back onto the point here. Has Fate there with him, just trying to control the pace here. Fury takes Agilities out in the sky. He wants there to be the Valiant losing a ton of that damage coming down. It's going to be very difficult to finish some of these players off. It'll be the self-destruct here used by Envy just to get a D-mech. Get right back in his suit as you see Fate takes out Fury soon here doing some work as well. Rascal, though, takes out Envy as soon as he gets back in the mech. with that rocket barrage. Still though, the point in favor to the Los Angeles Valiant, so still gaining a ton of time here.
I'm surprised that Envy dies there without being able to kill Rascal. He should have charged into the Pharaoh while she was barraging. I'm sure he would have known to do that, so something must have gone wrong for him there. It didn't work out. Yeah, normally obviously the Diva, you use that defensive matrix or you reflect the Pharaoh damage when you get up close. Good pulse bomb, that's what we're looking for. This time Soon makes it 1 from 2, and that's not a bad ratio at all. Nas desperately trying to get into the point. Resurrects are required, but Agilities has a bit of space to work, and now the barrage coming in. Fury, nothing he could do. He was more than happy to commit that to the kill. And Fisher making it very scary for Agilities, though. Eats a lot of that damage, is able to survive. And now they're hunting Rascal yet again. You can see that, Unco wants a bit as well. Classic, old school Unco in with the blaster. Looking to try and get some kills on that Mercy, but again, 99-0 here. This might be the shutout for the Los Angeles Valiant. They're looking good, they're looking real good.
It's crazy how long that fight goes on for. This was really like a 2-fight map. The original fight where the Valiant were able to win it, then take the point. And then after that, it just kind of lasts in this trickle that goes all the way to the distance, where finally the Valiant are able to come out on top.
I would say that map, Garden and University, are 2 maps where it is very easy to sort of reinforce and keep some sort of stall going on. But the reality of the situation is that the Spitfire never really properly cleared the Valiant from that point. Yes, Mercy reses people. We'll have our opinions about that one, and it is easy to keep your team up sometimes with that Valkyrie. But again, having the Lucio as well on both sides kind of means for the team that doesn't hold the point, they don't quite have that burst damage potential, and they don't have a Discord orb to break through things like Roadhog. So it becomes a lot harder to win a fight convincingly against this full team lineup. But let's have a look at this. We see Azai here for Rascal.
And both teams will have to go with Reinhardt instead of Orisa. So this is a combination where we see usually Orisa with that Roadhog, you're able to use the halt plus the hook. This time they'll go with Rein. The large shield of Reinhardt a little bit more mobile than Orisa. They'll just kind of push teams back a little bit better. And they actually land a fire strike there. They lose Bedosin, and that's huge because he's playing Moira. No mercy on the side of London.
Oh, that's a play and a half.
Oh, a lot of healing lost here.
You see, Birdwing knew he had to make some sort of play there after losing their Moira so early in the fight. Failing that, of course, Unco, the Moira can dodge away pretty comfortably with the fade, and Unco has a coalescence.
I was going to say, look at the difference between Bedosin getting picked early and then Unco staying alive. Just how fast Moira is able to build her ult with these large tank combos. Now, Unco may end up actually, if they end up winning this fight as soon as it falls, Unco, if he uses his coalescence, may actually even get his second one. At the same time that you see Bedosin get his, there's a big Earth Shatter though.
Yeah, coalescence here, desperately trying to keep Kariv alive in this fight, getting closer to that first sound barrier. Self-destruct to zone, literally just that, to force the Spitfire off the point. And Birdwing has fallen to Agilities already. With the abilities now, he's coming through, looking for at least an easy pick on towards this Diva again. You can't block the hook with the defense matrix. Oh, that's a nice pick, though. Should be a fade away, but Bedosin didn't have the time, or maybe he didn't have the cooldown. He suffered a far nastier fate than Unco did when he got hooked in, and now it's time to party. Giving him the whole hog and even the rest of it. Agilities is hungry, and he's making sure the Spitfire know. That's another big hook. He does get booped away. It's tough to catch a Lucio there, but now the sound barrier gives Agilities enough HP to back away with the Graviton with the self-destruct. That's gonna hurt.
That is tough. You got really aggressive there for the Valiant. The crowd's going crazy, and then as soon as they see the grab, everybody goes silent. You see the kills finally start to come in for the London Spitfire. They did have to invest
that was
a lot,
that was a huge investment. I mean, a self-destruct and a Graviton normally should be enough. There was also a Coalescence committed to that.
And now you're going to have, for the Valiant, you're going to have an Earth Shatter, Coalescence. Soon now will go over to Reaper, so you're going to have a ton of burst damage down on these tanks.
Oh, that's a huge hook. Fate's got to respect it. Again, you have more mobility when your shield is down, but he should have kept it up approaching the point. The fight is well and truly over.
And now you have to back all the way out. That's going to allow Fisher to build up towards his Earth Shatter. Soon here, they know exactly where he is. He's in a very difficult spot.
There's no way he doesn't get dived on here. But I guess he kind of is scary. He's kind of like a cactus. You want to hug a cactus? I don't think so. It's kind of like trying to give Soon a hug. Also, when he hasn't shaved that much, he's got the prickly beard going on. But he's able to back away here.
They know he's behind, though. I believe you saw from Fury's POV. He actually turned around and saw Soon on the staircase. So they have an idea where the Reaper's coming from in this situation.
Coalescence time. Let's see now. London knocked to the ground here. They've got the beam, and they have the Dragon Balls. The wish granted for the Los Angeles Valiant. 3 kills between Envy and Fate. Make that 4. And that's a comfortable fight win. Earth Shatter committed. Coalescence also thrown in the mix, but now there's a bit to work with still for the Valiant. This needs to be a big old Earth Shatter coming out from the Spitfire.
I mean, the Spitfire have a lot. You're going to have a grab potentially here as Rascal's up to 91%, potentially a Sound Barrier, Coalescence, Ursha. You have a ton to work with here for the London Spitfire. Kareev getting closer towards a Sound Barrier.
I want to see how this whole hog plays out here. Oh, Earth Shatter comes in. Oh, that's not too bad at all. Fisher gets knocked out of the way. He's not able to get much value out of the Earth Shatter, but still, Birdring was able to find Unco amongst the fight. Nuss escaped, just sneaks behind the wall as the hook came in. Hook 2.0, ladies and gentlemen, don't you forget it. And now Agilities has a moment just to get some free damage in towards Birdring here. Hook to stop that whole hog. Fantastic way to interrupt the enemy Roadhog's ultimate, but he still gets cut down. Doesn't matter though, at the moment for the Valiant, they can still fight back in, but a convincing fight won.
But you have that Graviton Surge self-destruct combo on the table here for the London Spitfire. Fate getting close to another Earth Shatter. Soon has this Death Blossom. Maybe he gets behind enemy lines. Has to be careful though, because Birdring connects with that hook when he's going for that Death Blossom. Gonna get taken right out of that.
That would stop him. It would completely
also
interrupt
go for nothing. Yeah.
That's what Chain Hook is good for. It's kind of a secondary bonus, but it is there. Does Rascal go from downtown with a Graviton here? That'd be really interesting. He's hooked in. Will he have the chance? He's dropped down. Zarya can't jump out of this pit. He has to go the long way around. It's essentially a 6v5 fight.
Puts it in the ground though.
Interesting, he catches him out, but no, nothing comes from that self-destruct here. Agilities and Envy make it happen. That hook may have just won this entire map for the Los Angeles Valiant. Graviton was still used, but there wasn't enough combo with it. Perhaps some confusion now. Agilities goes in. Chain Hook connects on towards his opposite number there. Rascal down. He's out of the picture. The Coalescence claims to kill him. Now the whole hog to push them away. Agilities is getting serious here. Fisher forced back, almost knocked off the edge, but he's able to survive. Hook now connecting into Birdring, and he's down. We're now in the overtime. The wick is burning, and the Los Angeles now finally spread their wings. The Valiant are on fire. And we have ourselves a series we've been looking for. The Western Hope shows that they deserve the title, perhaps. But there's much more to be done.
Agilities with that hook onto Rascal, drops him in the pit when he has the grab.
Devastating.
And you saw he tried to grab through the floor. He actually connects with 3 players there. I think it's just, it's at that point, London's probably kind of scrambling. They don't really know what to do. The grab was still good.
Follow-up wasn't.
It just wasn't enough follow-up.
And that could have been close. And so clever from Rascal to know that he could still use his ultimate as intended, because naturally Zarya is not mobile. You put her in the pit, and it's almost as bad as in the movie 300, right? You're going to get out eventually, but it's going to take a heck of a long time. Looks like Agility's now leaving his seat. So that indicates to us we might see a little bit of Silk Thread coming later on in the piece here. But now getting that map is important for Los Angeles. They're a good dive team with this last map coming up. There could be a lot to be said for them in this series.
Huge. They have the opportunity to tie it up here in this final map. It'd be great to see London do it.
Which one's a better, Plane Wings or Angel Wings? One way to find out when we come back. It's going to be huge. The Valiant have managed to keep themselves in this race against the Spitfire. We're seeing so much talent being put on display by both sides, but now finally the green and gold are waking up. It's good to see. We'll see you when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
You just gotta keep moving forward.
The Overwatch League represents a different direction than esports have taken in the past. A global community of professionals for a truly global league.
Matthew, we so often scrutinize Western teams, especially with different nationalities on their rosters, for miscommunication or communication problems in general, but you seem to think that we saw one from the London Spitfire at the end of that last map.
Well, it seems like when Rascal gets hooked into that bottom well area there towards the end, and he has the grab, you know, there's probably the communication that's going down from London to either back out and set up for that one more fight so they can use the self-destruct and the grab the way they originally wanted to.
He wanted it.
Going on through, he actually uses it, but it doesn't look like the rest of the team's ready to follow it up. You see that may have been a little bit of a communication issue towards the end of that game. Don't really know. We'd have to go back and take a look. The overhead mini-map, we have Gesture coming in for Fisher, Prophet coming in for Rascal. So this is the lineup we've seen the most from the London Spitfire thus far. And on the side of the Valiant, you have one sub coming in. It'll be Silk Thread coming in for Agilities.
That's right. Obviously, that's Envy there on screen. Obviously, he's been in the team for the entirety of the match. But yeah, Silk Thread comes in. We saw a very good Farah performance from Agilities in that previous match. But this might indicate to us that either they're going to run, you know, Envy on a Roadhog, or they might try and go for a Junkrat 76 sort of look from Silk Thread. Or the Genji, of course, as we know he can provide. There is a lot of flexibility here. This guy's been one of the fastest rising stars in Western Overwatch. I think the Overwatch League definitely has helped him propel to that point. But on the London topic, Matt, it seems like they're going back to the basics of the drawing board here with that more, you know, consistent lineup that we've been seeing them, you know, put on offer a bit more.
Yeah, this is the lineup we've seen the most from the London Spitfire. It'll be really interesting to see how they do coming in this final map, right? You know, Rascal plays 2 in a row. Prophet, you know, has been kind of sitting back in the dugout. Gesture, this is his first map in this series, right? Fisher has played all 3 up until this point. We'll see how they handle coming in here late in the game. A lot on the line.
Keep going, bro.
He's not.
I'm with you. Oh, it's a shame. I'm all about that. Right. So just so you guys know, this may well be the last map of this series. Obviously, if the Spitfire take this, it's a 3-1. It's a series victory for them. If the Los Angeles Valiant win this map, we'll be going to a 5th and final map. It's going to be a little bit of fun on Lijiang Tower. And of course, from what we've seen from the Valiant so far in terms of their control map performances, that might be just what they need to get over the line. But of course, this is a long and winding road, a treacherous map. It is definitely and literally an uphill battle, especially this second stage. We've seen quite a few teams get stuck up here. But now it's time to see what the Valiant been cooking up, because I really feel on Dorado, Matt, that the Spitfire really read Los Angeles like a book.
Yeah, they did. It was a really clean Dorado win for the London Spitfire. It looks like it'll be London on defense here, so they'll run out with Winston Diva, Prophet playing Tracer, and Birdring will be playing Farah. So you see these two guys are so talented on the DPS heroes that they're able to just kind of switch back and forth. Doesn't really matter who plays the Tracer or the Genji, the Farah. Just helps them so much in terms of just hero pool.
Don't often see defensive Farah though, do we, Matt?
No, we've seen it over the last few days though in Icon Vault. You know, when you want to play the Winston instead of like a Risa, and you want to play, you know, instead of having like a Junkrat in behind the shields, it's kind of like a more mobile version. You're able to just kind of fire down a ton of rockets into the choke, and then also puts pressure on Silk Thread on the other side, right? Where the enemy Farah is not going to be able on the offensive side just come over the building.
You can't just have aerial superiority based on you being the only Farah in the game, right?
Right, you always have to keep notice of the other Farah on the other side of things.
Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. Shine up the fancy cookware. This is going to be spicy, especially with 2 Farahs and a defensive Farah for the Spitfire. And Fate's in early again. Obviously just a little bit of a tickle coming from the auto cannons of Fury, but he knows that he was there. as he's expecting it to be. And already he's gone straight in though. Look at his fate gets burst so quickly, but Envy was able to get Nuss, and both supports are down. No resurrect available for the Spitfire. An incredible start in this fight. But now, with the road paved, the rest of the work still needs to be done.
Once both supports are out of the equation though, it's just a matter of time. Soon here on the point, playing Tracer, just searching for where Birdring is, where Prophet's playing. Prophet goes all the way back to the Valiant spawn.
Oh, they're
He's
doing
just trying
this.
to spawn camp here. Prophet gets Unko off the spawn, so you're not going to have that Zenyatta coming in here for the Valiant. The Valiant getting very close here to taking the point though.
Nuss gets back with the Resurrector and puts Birdring back in the sky, but Silkthread should be up there to contest him soon with a Pulse Bomb. Why not just use it on the deep? Oh, he may have gotten more than he bargained for. Prophet was playing so close to Fury that he was himself blown up by the Pulse Bomb. Silkthread needs one more shot there to finish the kill. Nuss went down. He's getting the damage done as this Farah. A good attempt at stalling from the Spitfire, but ultimately it's fruitless, and the Valiant are now on the board.
It's a smart play by Prophet to go for the spawn, able to take out Unko, so you deny that second support coming on in, but just a lot of firepower for the Valiant here on the point.
You're kidding me!
That is
sick!
Launches the self-destruct on his way down, is able to take out Birdring. We talked about these guys. We talked about these guys leveling up from contenders, man. Envy and Fate have been so good for the LA Valiant. Birdring will go off of Farah, go over to McCree, takes out Soon right away, so you lose the Star Tracer here for the Valiant. You see Spitfire getting pretty aggressive onto the payload.
I'm holding onto my stool. I've gotten off it. I've picked it up now. I'm going to stay like this, I think, because if I keep sitting down, I'm going to end up standing back up, and it's just too much exercise for me. Second stage of the map now, they're pressuring forward, and note that there is a Valkyrie there for Kareev and Nuss, so this fight might be easily nullified by that ultimate, and you can see it's already been drawn out. Kareev is forced to respond with his own, purely on the basis that Nuss has probably used his now. Gesture tries to go in, but he falls down. It's going to be a res immediately, no doubt, but Unko's also brought back. So almost rolling back time, you know, turn back the clock a little bit here. Silkthread now brought back, and guess what? Gesture again, going straight for Unko. He's got to almost get him. Primal Rage coming out now, despite the fact that he's discorded, he's big, beefy, and he's bulky. And he finds that kill when Envy chases down Nuss. This is a good start. Los Angeles are responding to these kills in kind, and Envy's looking for more Bunny Blaster shenanigans, but he doesn't quite find Birdring.
And Medoza's going to have to use the Transcendence here, keep everybody up for the London Spitfire. Unko in the next fight for LA. You'll have the Transcendence and you'll have Dragon Blade here. So they're trying to stay alive though. Prophet on Tracer just mows him down, takes down Envy as well. So London will stabilize here on defense. They had to use both support ults there to do it. Now you have Birdring with a Deadeye, Prophet getting closer towards a Pulse Bomb. You have Fury with a Self-Destruct. How do they play around this, though? Because they know that Silkthread has the Dragon Blade. They know that Unko has to have Transcendence. They tried to force it out in the last fight by Gesture jumping onto him with the Primal Rage. Unko holds onto it for this fight. It's a big first pick there from Soon.
Is that Resible? I don't think it is. I think Prophet was a little bit too deep in enemy territory here. Gesture down now as well. The kills are starting to come through, and Nuss can only look on in dismay and realize that trying to res these players might be too dangerous for him without the foul. Birdring, I don't know how he saw Soon, and that's just insane.
Yeah, but it's huge because you don't have to use the Dragon Blade if you're the Los Angeles Valiant, and you don't have to use your Transcendence here. You're able to hold on to both of those ults. You get Soon back in the equation here. The LA Valiant putting a ton of pressure on these doors. Such a dangerous place to get caught out with no support ult and the Dragon Blade on the other side.
Silkthread got a quick top up there, care of Unko. And Silkthread knows that his backline's being dived, so he needs to dive even better. Looking now for Bedosin. 1 slash and 2. Needs a third. He'll find it easily enough. Gets himself some HP. The Birdring's going to be brought back to life here by Nuss. Oh, Silkthread. About that Dragon Blade, huh? Mercy. Pretty strong hero.
He tried to get the Mercy in there. As soon as Nuss Valkyrie, he dived on in. Was not able to connect on Mercy. Brings back Bedosin and Birdring into the fight. You have the LA Valiant still hanging in here, though. They force both supports into the castle. Very nice play there by the Los Angeles Valiant. The only bad side is you still have Gesture and Prophet on the payload here. Picking up kills are going to get Fate very weak. Don't necessarily even need to finish him off. Just forcing him back. Going to have to get healed up.
So one thing we've noticed that the Valiant are probably a little bit better at doing in this series is sort of pressuring constantly into fights, getting a couple kills and then spawning back in and fighting. They struggled on Numbani at a point where it was a long walk back. That part where they lost the map was, you know, at a great disadvantage in the spawn. They've got a similar situation now. They've got a long way to walk back, but soon, not another back cap. Harry Hook still recovering from this one soon. Oh! Slapped down, Bedosin's not having any of that nonsense.
And we caught it there from the mini-map. They almost actually lost Nuss there because Fury actually drops down onto that lower balcony and he gets demeched and there's nobody for Nuss to fly to. They have to have Birdring come all the way to that side of the bridge to be able to get a line of sight, to be able to get him back up. That would have been pretty bad. You'd lose your Mercy. Then you have Soon on the payload. Things definitely would have changed there.
All right, Pulse Bomb there was dropped and delivered. Unco, the recipient, unfortunately not quite happy. And now it's going to be Silk Thread above them. Managed to jump on Birdwing again. London still want to play with this. McCree, so susceptible to this dive, this persistent aggression from the Valiant. Unfortunately, it takes more than just to pick off the Gunslinger to win a fight out at this stage for the Valiant. They need a clean win. They need to be able to get to the payload without getting picked off, and they're constantly losing plays because the Spitfire are engaging them halfway to the payload.
Well, you
Valiant are taking casualties early.
I mean, the Valiant will have their Valkyrie here. Going to get very close to a Transcendence. It'll be Valkyrie on the side for the London Spitfire. They're not close to that Transcendence, so Bedosen only about halfway there. They do have Birdring with the Deadeye. In this type of situation, if he can kind of get behind enemy lines, right now, he's actually just lurking in that back right. Just waiting for the side of the Los Angeles Valiant to get on the bridge. He's going to come from behind and...
Oh! One clip on Prophet! Maybe he had some help there, but it's hard to say for the kill feed. Soon was looking to make the play, and he may have done it there, but of course he's brought back to life. Unco is as well, though, so Resurrect benefiting both sides here, and this would look like a better fight. Jesse's brought back, but Soon's going to pulse bomb. Happy birthday, my man! He goes straight up to the sky, but he's taken down. A lot of damage there, and Silk Thread was waiting on the bridge with the soldier. 76, and Soon is not done yet. This guy's hungry, and he's in just the place to have the meal that he so deserves. Overtime is ticked down now, but there's no one from London on the payload here, and a desperate attempt, it won't be enough. And they're going to get into the last stage of this map. They bought themselves an extra 90 seconds. Let's hope it's enough for the Valiant to at least get this map finished.
Oh, and they're trying to get Jester here. They get him off the spawn, so they're going to lose Jester. You're going to have to wait a little bit. That's going to buy the Valiant some time to get this payload a little bit further in to the castle. You see so many teams stopped at that choke when you have that full setup. Interesting. Prophet's going to go, okay, he's going to go Junkrat. So you're going to go Junkrat McCree here. Looked like for a second they were going to go Junkrat Widow. Going to go Junkrat McCree. Have McCree to kind of deal with Soon in the back line. He's been such a nuisance, and then
deal with
all
it, boys.
Front damage coming in from Prophet on the Junkrat. It's going to be Soon getting Birdring low. They're able to finish him off as Fate goes Primal Rage.
1-for-1, unanswered Transcendence with Unco off the map. Fury dealing with Soon now. This is much better from the Spitfire. They're looking like they're recovering. Fury doing a heck of a lot of work with his defense matrix, keeping his cohort of teammates nice and healthy. With Kareev going down to Bedosen, that is stunning. The Spitfire now find their energy when they need it. And look at this, hero switches on the Valiant side. Of course, Soon making the change to McCree.
And Silk Thread uses his tack visor there. He's going to go over to Junkrat.
Well, they've lost all their ultimate economy here, though.
Yeah, they're resetting a lot here. So
Soon's getting chunked down as well. They don't have a moving barrier. Fate can only just sort of put down the shield. I don't know how I feel about this.
It's going to be hard to push on through with this.
They need a touch.
You have a Riptire coming on through. They do need to get somebody close to the payload here.
It's down. Soon manages to pick it off there. Now Prophet needs to come in from the backside.
Get to the cart, though.
They've got to run. They've got less than a second. They make it there in overtime. Kareev bringing Fate back to life. But Silk Thread falls to a concussion mine. He, of course, is brought back in 10. And now the Transcendence, the support ultimates are there for the Los Angeles Valiant. Will this be enough to get the job done? Self-destruct into the back. It doesn't find anyone. And Fury's going to go down to Silk Thread. Shields up. Birdring's looking for a big Deadeye, but he needs to wait out the barrier. He doesn't find anything, but Fate is looking very, very low. And desperately the Mercy, trying to keep everyone alive. But Kareev falls. It might not matter, though. Birdring drops. Silk Thread found 2 quick kills in the fire, and the Valiant have they found their opening here. They're going to be making an advancement forward, and there's an opportunity for them to get to the end of the map. There's going to be a big Riptire here.
Riptires on both sides. Prophet's going to have one in just a second. You see Silk Thread with a Riptire of his own. Kareev going to go over to 76 to get back in the fight. Can the Spitfire get back towards the point? They have to be careful because the Riptire coming in from Silk Thread.
No Resurrect here as well. Nasa switched off the Mercy. The kills keep coming. And it's perfect for the Valiant. They're making their way forward, and Fate proudly stands upon the payload to propel it forward to the ideal goal. Map finished. Los Angeles not sitting down without a fight, but definitely pushed right to the end.
It's got scary there. We didn't think they were going to make it back towards the cart for a second. Fate gets a touch on it on the Orisa, gets rezzed right away as soon as they get the Valkyrie up.
They completely changed their comp as well. We were thinking, well, they're not going to have many ultimates to work with, and still in that crucial fight, they had both the support ultimate, which may have been the only ones they really needed.
Well, it was a very difficult comp for also London to jump in on, right? When Gesture goes in there at that point, I mean, you have the Junkrat and the Roadhog combination there to just put down a ton of damage on him. As soon as he goes a little bit deep, you lose your main tank, then things are kind of spiraling out of control there for the London Spitfire.
We go to a 5th map and the Valiant are successful, of course. This would be the first time so far in the Overwatch League that a Korean team has been felled by an ostensibly Western one. It would be an important result and also a confidence boost for, you know, many of those Western teams out there who've had to go up against, I mean, it's been a tough week for the Valiant as well, going up against world-class teams in these Korean rosters. And of course, the London Spitfire counted as one of those.
The Valiant have played tremendous this week. Can they force that last map, though? We'll find out, as it'll be London on offense now. We'll see what they decide to run. Maybe they run the Pharah Mercy. Maybe they decide to go, you know, try a traditional dive, which they've gone with Genji Tracer. At least
Closing down sale, by the way, up to 20%.
Yeah, I was like, I
money
can't read
back.
that.
There you go. Off selected hardware. My German still is okay.
It's just okay.
It's okay. It's not good. It's not good. But
You can read. That's better than I can. Well, in German, I can read English.
Okay.
It looks like Birdring will be playing McCree here. They'll have Silk Thread playing Pharah on defense. So you see Pharah again on defense. We saw it from London. Now we see it from Los Angeles. This time, though, London will not have a Pharah of their own. They'll have Birdring on McCree. You'll have Bedosen playing the Zen. You're going to try and Discord that Pharah, get her out of the sky as soon as possible.
Interesting, though. No attacking Pharah. Birdring, perhaps. I just feel like this makes them more susceptible to the Valiant. They'd love to dive on McCree. There's nothing more that Los Angeles like to do than to get into that backline and remove that target. Often needs to be babysat. But Matt, we can see the Spitfire moving up close to the point now, ready to start.
Well, they're kind of giving them this corner, the Valiant, because it
so
it creates an area where Silk Thread can kind of hide behind that tower, just poke out a little bit, put down some damage in a controlled area where you know everybody on London's going to be, and then as soon as he gets one low, you see Fate jump right on in with Soon. So they're giving them that position because that initial tower, that huge tower in the middle where you have to kind of choose left or right to go to the point, it's a great opportunity for Pharah to hide behind it, use it as cover.
Birdring didn't have time to respond to that. Soon is now. Oh, he's starting to feel it, Matt. He is starting to flex it on. I mean, Birdring, he just got completely annihilated there. There's really nothing he could do. Wasn't even time to, you know, flash anything. Not that he knew where the damage was going to be coming from anyway. And he still wants to play. He's stubborn. He's persistent here. He believes that this is the answer to deal with the Pharah Mercy combo.
Yeah, Soon has had a tremendous map thus far. 31 and 14. He's gotten a pulse bomb basically every minute as well, averaging a pulse bomb every minute and 3 seconds.
Nuss wants to try and resurrect Birdring, but he's kind of, it's dangerous for him to go for it. He does. He at least gets that McCree back on his feet now. It was dangerous territory, but of course the Valkyrie makes the resurrect a bit more comfortable in process. Again, getting burst down. Birdring once more brought back to life. All these resurrects committed to the one player. Birdring is the centerpiece of the Spitfire right now. Look at his health in the top corner. He just can't catch a break.
And McCree is so hard to res in those situations because you have like 2 or 3 players right there for the LA Valiant. He doesn't have any escapability, so you just kind of jump right on him right away as soon as he gets rezzed. There's really not much he could do, as it'll be Los Angeles holding on defense yet again.
And that Valkyrie was committed to no avail. Kareev went for his in response. Kareev is the kind of player that sees a Valk and knows that his team needs one as well, but...
And you see how fast Soon is charging these pulse bombs, already at 91%. So
oh, there it is.
Just a minute to get the pulse bomb. Soon just maybe flexing a little bit too hard there. Birdring, it's really low. That would have been a great trade there for Los Angeles. It'll be the Transcendence being used here by the Spitfire. As LA dives in deep, they're actually able to get Soon back up.
He has a pulse bomb, so it's an important resurrect to be going for. Transcendence on the point, extra healing now for the Valiant, and Silk Thread just backs away a little bit. That McCree shot almost claims his life, and now he needs to take the low road, walk back into the point, but it's worked. Soon comes back and deals with profit. Perhaps this French Tracer is the better in that matchup, and of course Birdring, what can he do? He's getting dived on. He usually needs support in that position. And this time the Los Angeles Valiant leave their just desserts for last. They leave Birdring up. But he doesn't last long. There's a minute left for London to even get started on this map. It's been all LA Valiant thus far on Archenwald.
The tanks for the Valiant have played amazing on this map. Perfect positioning every time. The dives have been so well coordinated. You know, map 1 on Dorado, when they had Birdring running the Tracer, he was definitely getting the better of Soon in that matchup. Now they got Soon going up against Prophet. He's definitely finding his way on this map.
42 seconds remaining. There is a Valkyrie here and it has to be used immediately. Kareev doesn't quite have his, so it's a support ultimate advantage for the Spitfire, at least for this little interval. Soon now, probably charging a pulse bomb, looking for a tank in the backline or something similar, but Unco's gone down, so the dive for the Spitfire finally works out. Dead Eye for Birdring. It took him all round to get it, but it finally works out. And Kareev gets Unco back up on his feet. Kareev had that Valkyrie, but there's too many people to be resurrecting here. We're soon going down. Self-destruct, they're hoping for a lot here, but not much achieved, and the Valiant might just be put down here. The London Spitfire starting to wake up and maybe make a map out of this. Envy, desuited, easily taken down, and now the blue and orange can stand tall and have a chance to press forward, but it's going to be a long walk, and they don't have much time in the bank.
London will take point A. Takes them a very long time, final push to do so.
I'm cautiously optimistic about their potential to get the map done. I want to see it happen, but this second stage is super long, and they don't have a lot of time.
You have Silk Thread go over to Genji, so you imagine just a really aggressive play that's going to come out from the Los Angeles Valiant. You lose soon, here early. See if they decide to push in, get aggressive, which they do. They're going to push right on a Birdring. It's going to be Fate using Primal Rage, maybe trying to force out this Transcendence, right? You get the Transcendence out before they push through this gate. It's a big win for Los Angeles, but it looks like the London Spitfire are going to hold on to that support ult.
Yeah, I kind of thought we might just be seeing Fate trying to draw something out. But he did use his Primal Rage in order to do so, and you can see when Birdring can see his assailant coming, he has a chance to roll back and sort of flash. In fact, he almost claimed the life of Fate just with the Fan of Hammer there, but Fate was able to very quickly get a Primal Rage ultimate off.
Yeah, and losing that fight for the Los Angeles Valiants, pretty difficult, because obviously you didn't get the support ult that you wanted to get out from the side of the London Spitfire. You've also allowed McCree now to get to the high ground, right? If you would have played a little bit further back, it would be very difficult to get McCree up on that high ground. And you see Birdring just hide behind enemy lines. The Transcendence being used here by London. Just waiting for that Genji deflect to wear off. As all the kills here are going in favor of the Spitfire.
Okay, so it's a change of tact for Birdring here. Now, he's not trying to be the tip of the spear, but obviously the force applied behind it. The haft, if you will. And the London Spitfire had about 6 ultimates to work with here. They've worked through a few of those now, but they've figured out how to get around the Valiant. Play a bit sneaky, play smart, and play with respect.
Yeah, Transcendence was used by the LA Valiant there. Unco uses that ult during the fight. You'll have Valkyrie for both teams coming into this next one.
Primal Rage here for Gesture now, deep in the backline. See Bedosa now trying to keep a safe distance away. Soon made a brief foray into the backline, but thinks better of it pretty quickly. Gesture takes to the sky to try and get some health back, but Bedosa might be in trouble. Under scrutiny, and Silkman finds him with the Dragon Blade. Birdring and Bedosa are back up on their feet. Unco down, but Nuss won't get a second shot at this one. Unco now back as well. The Resurrect is there. With Fate dropping, Gesture knows he needs to back away, and finally the Valiant get themselves back in control. It looked like they were letting things slip.
And with only 10 seconds left, you just lose Fury here. He's going to go off the side. It's just Gesture and Prophet up here for London.
3 seconds.
Gesture will be able to get a touch. Can they get anybody else there?
He won't even get there.
No.
Gesture doesn't even get there. And the Los Angeles Valiants turn up. They put their money where their mouth is, and they're taking us to a 5th map.
And Gesture trying to jump onto the payload. He actually just gets body blocked there by the Los Angeles Valiant. He's not able to get a touch. He's the only person in position there for the London Spitfire. But the Los Angeles Valiant will hold here on defense. They've taken our last 2 maps to force a Game 5.
It doesn't get any better than this, ladies and gentlemen. Overwatch League delivering in a big way this morning. The Great Western Hope, or at least so far, going up against London Spitfire, a frightening team with incredible skill and players. But so far, we're going to get ourselves into a last control map. It's a good sign for LA fans, and the Spitfire have to buckle down. Oh, don't miss the next map. You'd be crazy.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
a league that offers opportunity for talented competitors to test and push our assumptions about how the game is meant to be played.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
Professional Overwatch doesn't boast one of the longest histories in terms of esports, but definitely one of the most exciting, and many of those exciting matches are off the back of reverse sweeps, all those big game fives. And this might be one of the Lijiang Tower's last map of the series. It's going all the way here in the Blizzard Arena between Los Angeles and the London Spitfire.
Yeah, Los Angeles has all the momentum right now. It'll be Agilities coming in for game 5 here, subbing in for Silk Thread.
I mean, how are you feeling though, knowing that you're getting thrown in now again for the decider map? You've got to be, feeling the weight of that.
Well, this is more than we've seen Agilities in a lot of their series thus far. Usually it's been like, 50-50 split between the two. This time we're going to see Agilities play this 5th and final map. And maybe you want, obviously, his Genji, right? His Genji's tremendous. Maybe you want to run some triple tank. Maybe you want to run some quad tank, right? We saw Soon run the Zarya, a little bit earlier on Horizon. No changes on the side of the London Spitfire. So Gesture will stay in at main tank. Prophet will stay in at DPS. Those are the only players they've had swapped out all series long.
And the London Spitfire went back to their original roster for the previous map, and even that didn't work for them. Are they running out of ideas? Do they have any more options, any secret weapons in the back pocket? Because momentum is a serious and very real force in this game.
I do think, though, had Gesture and Prophet, being Gesture had not played up until that last map.
Warming up?
Yeah, just warming up, right? It's got to be very difficult to just get thrown onto the stage in a match where the other team's building some momentum. They've had a pretty consistent roster all throughout. So just kind of jump in there, play that main tank role with, how good the main tanks have been for the side of the Los Angeles Valiant. Very difficult to be thrusted into that scenario. So we'll see here on our tiebreaker map.
It's almost like a hush amongst the audience now, knowing there's a lot of tension in the arena here, and there's a heck of a lot riding on this match. More than just the Valiant versus the Spitfire, by the way. We've seen a lot of blowouts, Matt, a lot of 4 Overwatch in recent times, and a lot of that has been at the hands of these incredible Korean rosters. Many eyes watching to see if the West can stand up to the test.
I think it just shows, the Valiant have put together a great roster. They have a great support staff, great coaching. So just shows you that, every team here is capable, right? It's just putting in the work, putting in the right work to get there. So it looks like here for the Valiant, they'll be running triple tank. Agilities will play Roadhog in this scenario. Uncle will be playing Moira. Kariv will be playing the Lucio. So you could run Moira. You see Moira on both sides here. Very good in these close quarter areas.
So Valiant sacrificed the Zarya in favor of getting the Tracer here soon, obviously preferring just to be more of a nuisance in the backline here. And the damage trade is good early on. Birdrig has fallen. That's a big body, and Kariv now hoping his team follow up. So much front-loaded damage combined with the harass potential on the backside from Soon. And LA Valiant starts strong here on this map. They'll have the first cap on Command Center.
A lot of people know Agilities is a tremendous Genji, has a great Roadhog as well, and he really showed it on Oasis. Starts things off here with a big hook. Look, if they can get Birdrig early in these fights, the Los Angeles Valiant know there's not going to be a ton of damage that's going to come out of the Spitfire at that point. They know the reses would not be coming through. Be a coalescence from Unko to kick things off. Gesture takes him out though. 3 kills go in favor of the Spitfire. Everybody's dropping for the Valiant.
A sick defense matrix from Fury there, though, as well. He prevents one of his teammates from being picked off by Agilities. And the Spitfire don't allow the Valiant to get ahead of themselves there. Coalescence in that fight, and really didn't quite work out. There was no forces at work from the Valiant to kind of keep the Spitfire bunched up, and that's a big hook. Prophet might have got a little bit ahead of himself here. Now forced to back away. He's very charged, and that Graviton Surge is very close, but Soon's on the point, trying to tickle them from behind, make them respect the Tracer potential, but guess what? It's time for the grab. Prophet lays it in, but he's knocked to the ground. The Earth Shatter might have prevented a lot of the follow-up damage from being there, and only 1 kill comes from that Earth Shatter.
Yeah, well, I mean, they use the grab, they use a self-destruct, and they use a coalescence and sound barrier here. Does the Spitfire. So now the Los Angeles Valiant, they have some ult to work with. You have a whole hog, you have your own sound barrier and coalescence. The only downside is they're not running that Zarya, so don't have that big Graviton Surge to set everybody up.
Fidosa wants to hunt Soon down. It's not too hard for him to use a Biotic Grasp to really chip those health points away from the Tracer. Whole hog here from the Valiant. Pressuring forward is going to be backed up as well. Biotic Coalescence, and Birdring is waiting in the wings with the Riptire. Looking to burn some rubber and maybe some faces, but no, it's Envy who's the recipient of the tire. Gesture misses the charge, doesn't quite connect, but the hammer swing is there and Fate is down. Fury gets in his face with a big old Diva Boop and sends him packing. Kariv is down. The Valiant are running out of options here in this round. It's 60% already. Agilities is being stalled out, and there's yet another Graviton surge for Profit. The Valiant had a good start, but they have not backed it up.
They have nothing to combat this Graviton surge that's going to come down from Profit. Envy will switch off of D.Va. He will go over to Zarya here. So, gonna have the Zarya come into play for the Los Angeles Valiant. See what Profit decides to do here with the grab. It'll be interesting. Does not have to worry about the defense matrix, right? Because D.Va not on the other side anymore. It'll be all the damage coming down here from London.
Not much to be said about that one. The Spitfire looking real good now. They seem to have things sorted out. Jester's been a big force. A lot of coalescences from Bedosin. Again, no real impactful ultimates on the horizon for the LA Valiant. The problem, Matt, with the multi-tank composition is that if you're getting behind, you just don't get ultimates. And that was it. The Spitfire already taken it away, despite the fact that there was an Earthshatter in the mix. But again, Zarya, Reinhardt, Roadhog, if you're not having a big impact in these fights and you're getting cut down, it's far harder to charge those ultimates than if you were a Moira, for example, or a Sombra, or perhaps even a Junkrat.
I think I would have liked to see a Zarya on the side of the Los Angeles Valiant there. I think if you would have had the Zarya in place of the D.Va, he would have been able to build up a little bit more charge. That the grab in that type of situation is such a more useful ult than the self-destruct, especially on that point. Could have built up a lot of charge as well. You would have had a Junkrat on the other side, right? Junkrat great against, Zarya great against Junkrat, able to just charge up so constantly. It'll be Agilities here playing Pharah. It'll be Unko playing the Mercy in this setup. Birdring will be playing Widowmaker going into this next point.
One of Unko's greatest moments, obviously, was winning the Atlantic Showdown for Team Rogue against Envious, upsetting him here. But this wouldn't be too far away from that feeling. I won't get a chance to tell him to put his headset back on. I'm sure he's learned his lesson. But Envy now off the edge. Good start here, again by the Spitfire. Unko isolated on his own, forced to try and jump away. Now Soon and Kariv are kind of left out in the open. The Widowmaker here. This has got to be real scary now for your Pharah Mercy. Maybe Agility just straight up switches off this. Respect is there, and the Genji has now entered the field for the Valiant.
Yeah, they definitely caught them off guard with that Widowmaker pick at the beginning of the game. Agility goes right up into the sky, gets picked by Birdring.
On this map.
We saw Taimu do that, during contenders all throughout, and the other teams would run the Pharah. He would just go back to the spawn, switch over to Widow, take one shot, take out that Pharah. Here comes the push from Los Angeles Valiant. Great play there by Fury.
Agilities, I don't think he intended to go over the edge so early on in the round. Not what he was looking for at all. And now Birdring, he can come out and make his presence felt. This is great from the Spitfire, I've got to be honest with you. The Widowmaker here, when you have control of the middle of the map in the first point, you have a heck of a lot of sight lines that you can navigate very safely. Being damage boosted as well. Look at that. Oh, Agilities! He just wants to play the game, Birdring. Give him a shot. He does get res and he'll have a chance here, but that's going to smart.
Well, and it's also, these picks have forced so many switches out of the Valiant that they haven't had a great opportunity to build up towards ults. What? Fate's had to switch, Soon's had to switch, Envy, Agilities, Kariv. Everybody's had to swap outside of Unko that you're resetting all of these ultimates. That London Spitfire are going to have a good ultimate advantage coming into these fights. In there already at 60% on the point.
Birdring now as well, just trying to make sure he stays in step with the Valiant and has a sight line at all. Agilities, he cannot be doing that, it's too risky. Up in the air he pops. And down he comes there as well. Look at that, Unko tries to go for the Resurrect. Birdring is controlling this match. The Genji switch has not been enough to deal with it, but he killed it another time! There's just no opportunity for the Valiant to get involved here. Birdring is deciding who does what, where, when, how, and why! And it's 77% to 0, and this has not been a close map here on Lijiang Tower, man.
The London Spitfire dominated thus far. Gesture will have Primal Rage coming into the next fight. Fate will now go off of Orisa. Back to Winston, Envy will go back to D.Va, so they're going to go,
this is it,
tried and trusted dive. The issue is, they don't have that Transcendence up yet.
95. They've got to go, Matt. Lacking the trans is definitely going to hurt them. They don't have a lot of ultimates at all. They're trying to go full dive on this one. Birdring is forced away for now, but he's back in. Transcendence coming out here for the Spitfire, and Birdring again just going to sit and wait. He has all the time in the world. The Valiant aren't even really tickling the points. They do get a cap in this fight, which means that they can play it slow now. The Valiant don't have to rush. Birdring cut down, and Envy finds Bedosin here as well, but Prophet's on the point. He's going to try and back cap. They've got to get there. Okay, breathe. A breath of relief. As Prophet is forced away, but he might have the better of Agilities here. There's a pulse bomb, some style points perhaps on the horizon. Agilities is forced to back away, waits for the health packets there. Prophet is still having to challenge him out, and he goes down. Dangerous times here for the Valiant. Gestures pushed him back inside their spawn, but they haven't taken the point just yet. I don't think there's a chance for the Valiant to get back now. They've got to run real fast. They're going to contest though. Good timing from Soon to make sure this point isn't taken away. Prophet with a pulse bomb, backs away from the D.Va self-destruct. Fate found Birdring, and the Spitfire try and get in, but they messed this up.
And Envy gets both of the supports during that. Somehow, when the fight's going down on the point, Soon is able to contest it for a little bit. Envy goes into the backline of the Spitfire, takes out Bedosin and Nuss. 2 big kills there from Envy. Agilities with a Dragon Blade in this next fight, Nuss with a Valkyrie. Birdring will switch off of Widow. We'll go over to Genji here. So more aggression coming out from the London Spitfire. Unko gonna get his own Valkyrie here as well. We'll see how Agilities plays with this blade. It's going to be Nuss using the Valkyrie to engage.
That's it. Gesture into the backside here, but they've traded 1 for 1. Gesture brought back there. Nuss with the Resurrect. Agilities now the Dragon Blade. Unko went down with his Valkyrie, mate. That's not going to help well at all. He needs to get back onto the point, but both supports are down, and it's all gone wrong for the Valiant. Bedosin gets himself too, getting forced off to the point. The Spitfire now looking to cap things out. The Valkyrie's here though. Unko's arrived. Agilities is back, but is it enough? Is it too late for this kind of Hail Mary play? Envy back. Fate now is going to get cut down. I think it's not going to be enough, Matt. It's hard to say, but the Valiant might have just fallen short of the glory they're so desperately and doggedly seeking. Bedosin has himself a Transcendence here, and Soon is looking to try and make the difference, but we're in overtime now. Birdring the Dragon Blade claims Soon. Envy, a desperate Nile. It's going to be Kareem jumping onto the point with his own Transcendence. There's a lot of action on the screen. Hard to pick through, but Prophet is still trying to chase down Unko. Kareem is dead. He's an Omnic Pancake right now. Fate the next to drop. The wick burns down. 1 by 1 is being contested here. I can go all day, Matt. Watch me! And there it is! The Spitfire come back from what was looking like a compromising situation. Again, a map type that the Valiant looks so much better off, but they really tighten up the belt. And that seemed like such a dominant performance until right at the very end, but they were pushed all the way.
Yeah, the LA Valiant played great all series long. That last map, though, we're not able to put it together. London holds very strong at the end. I thought Birdring was phenomenal on that last point. Made a difference on the Widowmaker, did a tremendous job when he switched over to the Genji.
Now, Widowmaker controlling so much of that space, so hard to deal with. It's much more difficult to dive that than a McCree. And perhaps the Spitfire found out where they had to go with that just in time.
And when he's able to get the picks on the Widow early in the round, it just forced so many comp switches from the Los Angeles Valiant that they were never able to build up that big, 5 ultimate push and go on in. They put themselves in a difficult spot, but the Valiant really proved themselves this week. They go up against New York. That series was very close. They take London to the limits here.
I mean, this is the kind of week for a team like the Valiant that really starts to forge you into that machine, a unit now that can be one of our, our title teams here in the Overwatch League. Los Angeles is represented by some fantastic rosters, and the Valiant definitely foremost of those two. Matt, what a series. I need a drink of water or maybe a bit of a lay down, but we're going to head to the desk with Semmer and Co. to break down this incredible 5-map series.
Thank you very much, Uber. Yeah, this is it. That is as close as one of the Western teams has come to taking down one of the full Korean rosters, that is, but that's as good as it gets. What a fantastic match to start the day here.
And they really did their homework after the New York matchup. Being able to adapt on the fly and switch their heroes, I think, is what ended up allowing them to take London Spitfire to that 5-game series.
Yeah, all around, I gotta say, I've been super impressed with Valiant, the way they've come along and how they've developed as a team. Partly due to their fantastic coaching staff, but the way they utilize their players and whatnot is just brilliant. Soon as a playmaker in his own. However, I do feel like that was a bit of a downside in the final map. I feel like there could have been some adaptations a little bit faster for Valiant. Well, but let's focus on the here and now that we're seeing right here on Oasis, and that's, I feel like Agilities was a good standout player for them winning this one. A big reason for why they won Oasis was his Farah play, was his hog play.
That hook right there is straight up won the game, because Spitfire had Grav, they had the Diva Bomb. It was about to be just a game-winning play. This combo is so easy to do. You win a fight every time. But he actually drops Cesari to the bottom of the well. You're grounded, has to throw the Graviton up, and so the combination just doesn't fall.
It's almost as good as actually just killing him and taking him out of the fight, like putting him there. Because Zarya's got no mobility whatsoever, I feel like we can get another replay at this and throw it up, hopefully, so we can see and show you exactly what we mean by Agilities getting the hook and putting him into the hole, into the well of University. And it's just a brilliant play. This is not this. This is Eichenwald. We can still talk about Eichenwald.
We can talk, I mean, there are 5 maps in this series. We have gone the distance, and Eichenwald also equally exciting. It really felt like it was back and forth on this one.
Well, that's actually when they swapped out really well, because they got the payload on the second point, and we were thinking, okay, this is a really tough payload to get at this point. You have such a long ways to go from offense. You have to go through the castle. The defense is really high up. So they swapped correctly. The Soldier, you wanted to see Soldier.
Exactly.
He busts out Soldier, and it paid paved the way for them to push that through, and then the Junkrat came through. Because you remember, actually, Spitfire got the payload to the exact same point and was struggling, but they just did not have enough time.
Yeah, so many adaptations by Valiant, which is why you mention it. The fact that they won out Eichenwald based on the fact that they made the intelligent decision-making Silk Thread, moving over to the Soldier 76 in the final moments of the second stage push. You've got that Soldier on the high ground presence. He's just up there, just laying in damage. They couldn't deal with it, but what was key was the switch to the Junkrat and the Envy solo tanking on the Rissa. That was crazy. And Envy moving over to Tracer, they had so much mobility, so much damage. You can run a solo tank of Rissa because she's got so much shield up time. You don't have to worry about it. Like, it was just a brilliant switch just in the moment, and London actually couldn't adapt to it.
Yeah, it was a real nail biter. Also, a lot of mobility on those heroes. And so when you're talking about that third point, you're rezzing way over here. You need to get back to that point as fast as possible. And so really appreciate how quickly LA Valiant were able to adapt and get those high mobility heroes into the fight. Yeah. I mean, did London Spitfire stand out in any way on the map? Do you feel like it was more LA Valiant winning it or the Spitfire giving it up?
I mean, Spitfire had a lot of standout moments. Birdring, I think in particular, was the guy that was just insane, especially on the last point when he switches over to the Widowmaker. We saw, I think it was yesterday, with the Gladiator Surf4 busting out the Widowmaker on that exact point, and you're forcing your opposition to switch and react accordingly. Okay, now there's a Widow here. You typically don't see it. What are you going to do about it? And Valiant failed once again to adapt very quickly, but I think that we saw signs of improvement compared to how slow they were against the New York XL. So this time around, I'm pretty pleased with how Valiant played, and I think they should be too.
You're talking about Legion Tower there, where you're talking about the adaptation.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, just to make it clear, it was the last map that we're talking about here. I believe we've got some highlights as well that we can throw up just to talk about it. But yeah, it's the adaptations again. This word keeps coming up, but it's so so prevalent for one good reason. Valiant had a good showing. They made the switches at the right times, except with Lijiang Tower. And I don't know if that's just because they weren't practiced, but against Quad Tank, Soon stayed on Tracer for this entire round here on this first control center.
I want to give you a bonker stat here. Profit actually hit 74% average energy on Zarya on this map.
Ridiculous.
So Zarya is the kind of hero that if you're at 0, you're useless. If you're at 100, you count as 2 people. He's basically at 100 the whole time with that incredibly high average stat. And then Birdring, I mean, he just put on the show.
This is you mentioning
it. Was
like
punishment.
Birdring on the Widow, they didn't have anything to deal with it. At LA Valiant, they made the right switch later on into this round. They switched to the traditional dive composition, which is what they needed to do, but it was too little too late. They moved when it was already 88% onto the point. By this point, London had already built up an ult advantage. They were at a disadvantage, and it was just basically an uphill climb from there.
All right, lads. Well, there's so much to talk about, but unfortunately we are pressed for time here on the desk because we have 2 more matches that are coming up today. But before we move on and start talking about the next one, I'm going to go ahead and actually name our player of the match. Omen by HP, thanks to them. And the player of the match going into it is going to be the man on Diva. The tank's getting some love here on the desk.
Yeah, I love Fury. We were talking about him so much, picking him up. He is the unsung hero of London Spitfire because the guy has such a ridiculous performance. He saves the defense matrix for the exact right time. He tracks the ultimates as well. This is the best part of his Diva play is actually his game sense. You don't see it in his mechanical play as much like you would with someone like Poco with his self-destruct, constantly getting kills, but it's his positioning, his mechanical awareness, and his awareness of what abilities the enemies has that makes him such a good Diva player.
Well, no longer will he be unsung. Now we sing the song of Fury, and most of that actually is end up eating many pulse bombs from Soon, and that's just such a pain when you're playing that Tracer and you think I'm gonna get the pick, and no, there's a Diva, the defense matrix. You can't even tell the range of that thing. It might as well just be an extension of a shield.
We need to get him like a little Omen medal or something, right? You know, he's going to get it at the end, you know, MVP. Yeah. There you are. You won it this week. Good job on you. But guys, we are going to take a break now because coming up next, we will have another Los Angeles team, the Gladiators, going up against the New York XL. They took down Valiant this week. Gladiators are going to have to get some revenge here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to start that off.
Gemeinsam kämpfen wir. Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Really good, boys.